Okay. We should be ready to roll here, everybody. Hello! Welcome to the stream this week. We are once again going to be playing Sonic 06. I always refer to it as Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, but it's more colloquially known as 06. And we're once again streaming it for no particular reason. There's absolutely nothing that's happened recently that has made me decide I want to play this game. I have no idea what you're talking about. How am I doing this fine day? I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. I've just finished editing the 6th version of the trailer for an upcoming series. So, that's exciting. But, more on topic for the Sonic franchise, some of you may know that the Sonic movie 2 came out yesterday. And I have not yet seen it. I know some people in chat have. But I also know that some people in chat who are interested in seeing it probably have not seen it yet. So, I'm going to lay down some ground rules right now. In the interest of anybody who has not yet seen it, I do not want to see any spoiler chat whatsoever about the Sonic movie 2. I've already been spoiled on one thing, and likely I've already been spoiled on another. So, we're going to try to keep it so that it doesn't get any further than that. So yeah, just try to... You're more than welcome to share your thoughts on the film, but try to keep spoilers to a minimum. By which I mean non-existent, if you please. Spoiler, Sonic is in the movie. I know, right? That's the biggest spoiler of them all. Yeah, I'm planning on going to see it next Wednesday, because my cousins are coming into town. I think they actually take the train down tomorrow. So yeah, they'll be here for the duration of the week. And then we're gonna go see it probably Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to that. Unfortunately, because YouTube sucks, it's like a minefield avoiding spoilers. I've already seen a video pop up into my sub feed, which says a thing that happens in the movie that was definitely not in the trailers, and it's just a clip of someone filming in the theater, and it's just like you didn't even. Why do people? It's always so frustrating. Rules of spoilers. Unless you say something ridiculous like Monokuma's in the movie, you'll delete the comment regardless if it's true or not. I concur with that, absolutely. Because obviously, if you say something like that, it's very obviously not meant to be remotely accurate, but anything that even seems like it could be a spoiler remotely would definitely need to be deleted. You thought it was pretty good? Reverse the first movie, not a very good movie itself, but a good movie for Sonic fans. I can't speak to the validity of that statement, as I have not yet seen it, but I will go into it with an open mind, because I've heard mixed things from different people. I've heard from Sonic fans that it's great, and I've heard from general critics that it should have focused more on the human stuff, which, you know how that goes. Because that's exactly what I wanted to see out of a Sonic movie, was the human drama. Also, these load times are already starting to get on my nerves after seeing just how short they can be. And that was the sound of the next version of the trailer finishing rendering. If you're wondering what that da-ding sound effect was, that was the sound of Vegas finishing rendering the next version of the trailer. So, thankfully it didn't seem to impact the performance of the stream whatsoever. Because sometimes when you render videos while you're streaming, it can tank your performance, but thankfully it seems that didn't happen this time. It's a fine movie. 15 minutes of the second act are really boring. Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday. I'll see how it goes. We shall see how that all winds up. No, God, no. Once again, critics are being dumb. Yeah, I just don't have any trust in movie critics in general anymore. Not that, well, I mean, I say it as if I ever really did. I guess maybe as a kid I was interested in seeing what critics had to say, but then I got to middle school and I realized how dumb that is. So, third act is worth it though. Something tells me that the major thing about the third act has already been spoiled for me, so that's unfortunate, but doesn't make me any less excited to see it happen. You liked when Sonic used the Force to defeat Palpatine. Yeah, did you like when Sonic used two two Egg Cerberus lightsaber sticks to reverse, to repulse the lightning back into his face. That was my favorite part from the Sonic movie. If those critics played Justice for All, they would say too much lawyer stuff. Game needed to focus more on the circus characters. Possibly. Never know. Okay. We shall see how this falls out with taking down all the searchlights. Yeah, oh, and as for Sonic Adventure 2, the final episode of Sonic Adventure 2, it's still in the midst of editing it. I just finished recording it yesterday. It's painful. It is one of the most painful times I've ever had playing a game. But I'm glad it's over. I'm glad it's over and I never have to play it again. I'm gonna try to have it out by tomorrow. Because it took me 2 hours to record the final. The last story took me 2 hours to get through. But at least it's done. IGN rated Justice for All as one of the best Ace Attorney games. Well, given the fact that it's IGN, I can see that. Oh, we just missed out on the S. If I got a few more rings, I could have gotten an S rank. Did I just have to replay the Sonic vs. Shadow battle? Actually, interestingly enough, I didn't even have to do anything. Because, credit where credit is due, the game checkpointed me after the battle. So all I had to do was watch the cutscenes and the credits and I was fine. Unfortunately, that was the least of my problems. Because the last story itself is just awful. It's just terrible. It's sad that Aviary Attorney ended badly and started pretty good. Yeah, I had really high hopes for that game. Aviary Attorney started out really, really well. I was honestly surprised by how great it was in the beginning, but it just completely fell apart at the seams by the ending.
It seems they don't want us to leave.
Let's get this over with.
Also, I didn't ask, are audio levels all good, or do I need to raise or lower audio for anything? It sounds fine on my headset, but it can sound different in the actual stream itself. They wrote the review when it came out, so it really just came down to them liking it more than the first. That in and of itself is that in and of itself is already hilarious. Game audio's low? Okay, I can turn it up just a smidge. Let me know if that's better. I've turned it up, I didn't turn it up too much, just a little smidge, so. Let me know if the game audio is better. Okay, time for Egg Cerberus version 2.0, Electric Boogaloo. But this time with no statues to bash into. Please, please. There we go, okay.
Make him crash into something.
Justice for All is your third favorite Ace Attorney game? That's interesting. Because I guess I can see it being someone's favorite, if only because Farewell My Turnabout and Reunion and Turnabout are stellar, but when you take the game as a whole, the Lost Turnabout and Big Top are just atrocious. Oh, okay, that was not part of the plan. If I think Sonic Adventure 2 is bad, just wait till I have to play Shadow's game and having to play some little 10 times to unlock the true ending. Yeah, I'm not doing that. I'm aware that there's like 100 different paths you can possibly take to get through that game. That's not happening. I'm telling you this right now. That's not happening. I'll probably play till I get one ending and then call it there. There's not a chance in hell. I know what Shadow the Hedgehog has in store for me. I don't really want to deal with it any longer than I have to. Preferably not at all, but I've set myself down this path of torture, so now I gotta see it through to the end. But I'm not jumping into Heroes immediately. That's not happening. I'm not going to jump straight into Heroes on Monday. Shuji Gumi only had 3 months to write the script, which explains it but doesn't excuse it. Because I'm sure there are stories that have been written in... In fact, actually, I know of stories by name that are, that were written in less time and came out even better. Oh my god. Game. Oh, I almost saved that. Okay, I was too slow. I think it's his most impressive work considering the time limit that he was drunk doing it. It's astounding he was able to write Farewell My Turnabout given the circumstances. But as a whole, it's still not. It's still one of the weakest Ace Attorney games. Since people since people said Sonic Adventure 2 was an improvement, I hated it. Maybe Shadow ended up being good. No, because I know what Shadow has in store for me. It's got gunplay and vehicles that are worse than they are in this game. So, no thanks. The thing is, I have the disc. I currently have the disc. Saved it. I currently have the disc that for the Xbox. So I've already bought it. I'm gonna commit to playing it. I didn't buy that disc for no reason. That's for sure. Shadow's the best Sonic game because it's the edgy one. Yes, Shadow the Hedgehog when he makes his great debut. Where's that damn Chaos Emerald? See, Big Top is a masterpiece of how realistic it is. The big celebrity turns out to be a pedo. Oh, dear God. Yeah, that's the justification for why that case is actually secretly a masterpiece. Alright, well that was fine. Heroes is pretty rough and you enjoyed it sometimes. Going into Heroes, my only thing about Heroes is that it can't be worse than Adventure 2. So with that knowledge in mind, it can't possibly be. The knowledge that it won't be worse than Adventure 2 is already calming enough. Oh, and in case anybody was wondering, Episode 3 of Halo is bad. Really bad. In fact, it's the worst one yet. If you thought Cortana looked bad during the trailer, she looks even worse in the episode itself. Somehow. Against all odds.
Soleanna.
Didn't think it was possible.
City of water. It has a constitutional monarchy, you know. The primary industries are tourism and crafting precision machinery.
The gunplay is actually not bad. Most vehicles are completely optional. The problem is everything else. Oh. If vehicles are optional, then that might not be the worst thing in the world. Can't believe Big the Cat was secretly Jim Carrey the whole time in the Sonic movie 2, the final fishing battle. Oh dear God. Could you imagine? That'd be a neat little reference if they actually had like a subtle nod to the to the Big's fishing. I wonder if Big will ever get an appearance in the Sonic cinematic universe.
It's the ancient castle of Soleanna.
Because I imagine they'll probably bring in Amy at some point. But will Big ever get will Big the Cat ever get his debut on the big screen? That's how they market it too. They market it as Big the Cat finally gets to be on the big screen. Will they take advantage of that? Probably not. Big the Cat the movie. Sounds like a Sesame Street standalone special. It annoys you the official Sonic actor doesn't voice him in the movie, but the actor for Tails does. That is questionable, but the person who voices Sonic still does a great job. And honestly, if I had to pick, when choosing between Sonic or Tails, which one's official voice actor would I prefer to have portray them in the movie, I'd probably pick Tails. Because the current voice actress for Tails is just the best it's ever been, whereas Sonic is a bit more in fluctuation as to whose voice I prefer. The entire movie is him fishing with no music, just pond ambience. Featuring a cameo from Kermit the Frog. No, that's it. Kermit the Frog crossover with the Muppets. Kermit the Frog is the frog he's trying to catch. Big's Big Fishing Adventure V3. That actually sounds like, minus the V3, it sounds like a Sesame Street episode. Elmo's Big Fishing Adventure. Or something like that, I don't know. Okay. The best gaming experience of your life is fishing for like 7 hours with your friend in Silence Red Dead Redemption 2. I have never played Red Dead Redemption. I've not played the first one or the second one. The only thing I've heard about the Red Dead Redemption games, or at least the second one, is something about people's horses dying a lot. I don't know the context of that. That's all I really know. Other small problem with the movie is Tails kind of gets destroyed under the stick. I have heard that. I heard that the focus is more on Knuckles than it is on Tails, which kind of sucks because I've always liked Tails a lot more than Knuckles. Like, significantly more, in fact. Sonic and Tails dynamic is very, very strong in the games most of the time. But, you know, we'll see how it goes. So long as it's not to the same degree that Athena and Maya were sidelined in Spirit of Justice, I think it'll be alright. Because I can't imagine... Because that was the big end of credits or post-credits scene for the first movie, was Tails shows up. So if Tails just did absolutely nothing the whole time, that would be very disappointing. RDR2 is bad online mode, but the story mode is god tier, one of the best in gaming history. I have heard such things, but I've never played it myself. Elmo is voiced by the voice actor of Scar in The Lion King, true story. Or in the Dutch version, I did not know that. Spoiler free, please. We haven't spoiled anything from the second movie so far. Or if I've accidentally spoiled something, then I have no idea how that happened, but no one in chat has spoiled anything so far. Unless you mean me talking about the first movie, in which case that came out over 2 years ago. The spoiler ban has long since lifted on the first movie. Okay, this is the... Do I want to do this one? This is the car one. Sure, why not? Red Dead Revolver was amazing. I should play them on the channel sometime. What kind of games are they? Because I don't know. I feel like there's probably a reason I wasn't really interested in them in the first place. But I think they're open world action RPG stuff is what I think they are. I don't know if that's actually what genre they are, but anyone, you feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, the mods are currently on the lookout for any spoilers, which I don't really think there will be many of them. But if there are anyone trying to spoil the second movie, they'll be gone faster than you can blink. Elmo, long live the cookie, throws Cookie Monster off a cliff, and then Kermit is the one screaming no. Unironically, would have been more entertaining than that scene from the Lion King remake. I'm not even joking. I would have rather watched a Sesame Street version of The Lion King than I would have watched The Lion King 2019. Imagine, man, remember when Muppets did Muppet versions of other movies? That was great. They should do that again. Because recent Muppet stuff has failed to captivate me in any way. Especially since their current voice actor for Kermit the Frog is the one who voiced Constantine in Muppets Most Wanted, who was specifically designed to be a bad impersonator of Kermit the Frog. And he did a great job at being a bad fraud, but he doesn't sound like a good actual Kermit the Frog, which was the point in that movie. But now he just sounds awful. Which sucks. The Muppets in Trigger Happy Havoc, I would unironically play that. Dude, I would buy that so fast. That'd be funny as shit. Have I played, or do I plan on playing the new LEGO Star Wars game? No. Every bit of gameplay I've seen of that looks awful. I do not want to play that. I might stream the original LEGO Star Wars, for no particular reason, but the new one is atrocious. It's god-awful, in fact. It's just as bad as I expected it to be. If not worse. It has every modern problem that all the new LEGO games have had, and then some. You played a bit and it feels really, really soulless. Yeah, it doesn't really... The charm the original LEGO games had has long since evaporated, and it's the reason why is because I don't know if any of you had either watched my Double Dash episode where I talked about this or have read up on it yourselves. But the development culture at Traveler's Tales is really toxic, and it's just... They're just mindset just to crap out as much of the same recycled garbage as possible. They were working on a new engine. What the problem is that making a new engine on this... Making a game of this scale on this new engine where no one knew what they were doing and no one knew how the engine worked is a terrible idea. Like, actually awful. But they did it anyway. And it's just the awful crunch culture, awful... workplace culture within I don't know, you should just read up on it yourselves. It was really depressing to read all that stuff, but it was so informative to the current state of the modern LEGO games. You hate when people blame the loss of charm on the voice acting. The grunting was not all the charm. Yeah, it's not. The fact, putting mumble mode in LEGO Star Wars Skywalker Saga didn't change anything. Nothing has been, but people think it's been fixed. People think that because they can mumble now, that it's all that it was. But that's not what it was about. It's not, the people mumbling wasn't what it was. It was the fact that they can make creative decisions to tell the story. The fact that because they couldn't talk, or at least they chose not to have them talk, that they had to make creative decisions to try to tell the story and communicate the same information without any verbal dialogue, which allowed for a lot of charming scenes. But nope. It would make sense if it was a remaster. If it was a remaster, sure. But this is decidedly not a remaster. It's a from the ground up, brand spanking new game, where even say a remake is generous, because it's not even remotely similar to the original LEGO Star Wars in any discernible way. I don't know what they were thinking with this. And I'm sure some people will try to say, oh, guess what? They were on a new engine, you gotta cut them some slack. It's like, okay, they chose to do that. The same way that that Steelwool chose to make Security Breach as open and ambitious as it was. They made that choice all by themselves. We don't have to give them slack for a choice they made. Oh, cut them slack. When you looked up the new LEGO game, Steam recommended it to you because it was similar to Halo Master Chief Collection, Halo Infinite. Yeah, the same thing happened to me. I checked up on the Skywalker Saga myself on Steam, and I got the same recommendation. It's similar to games you've played. Halo Master Chief Collection and Halo Infinite. Oh, really? Is that the case? Well then. You're still gonna play the original trilogy levels because of nostalgia reasons, but after that you're done. Oh, well, my advice would just to replay the original LEGO Star Wars if you have access to it. Because the new games, the only thing the new games made me want to do is go back and play the original LEGO Star Wars. And not even bother with the new one. But, yeah, the gameplay I've seen just looks mechanically broken and just soulless to play. But the stupid over-the-shoulder blaster combos, lightsaber combos, boss fights that last. Like, even when you fight Darth Maul, even Obi-Wan Kenobi just says, "Oh, this again," or he's still going, or we're doing it again, or something. It's like, okay, if the characters in game are cognizant of how repetitive and dumb your boss fight is, maybe it might be time to go back and change some things. But hey, what do I know? Because I was really committed to covering it, but then I realized I just don't want to. I just don't want to cover the new game. Because some of my earliest series on the channel that really did numbers were my LEGO game series. Covering the original LEGO Star Wars, LEGO Indiana Jones, LEGO Batman. Those did really well, and to this day are still some of the most popular videos I've ever made on the channel. So, it would have certainly been beneficial for me to cover those new games, but I just don't, or to cover the new ones specifically, I just don't want to, because it looks exactly like every modern LEGO game, and then some, which is not a compliment in any discernible way. One thing you like, from what you've seen, is they added scenes and moments more in a complete saga. Maybe, but I've also seen that they've removed a lot of the story. They've removed a lot of the original story, and a defense that I've recently been told is, well, they're tackling more movies, so they have more to show in less time. It's like, okay, no, one, they chose to tackle more movies in this game. Two, not an excuse, because the original games tackled 6 movies, and that they radically changed those, so no, but ugh. How about playing Kirby instead? I don't know. I've never really been interested in those games. The only fun new thing you've heard of is that apparently there's a Xenoblade reference. There is. I think. I don't know what it is, but I have heard that. You got to the end of the first level and it didn't even have an end cutscene of them leaving the area. They just were suddenly now on the boo. Yep, that's kind of what I'm. That's a great example of what I'm talking about. Just so much. You can get the full, like, obviously in the original LEGO Star Wars, things are cuts from the movie, but you still understand the full plot from start to finish. No major events are chopped out. But in this new game, so much is chopped out, and it's just filled in with all these... It's such a disjointed mess between doing the main story stuff versus doing all the random side stuff. You seen the Obi-Wan vs. Anakin level on YouTube and you were disappointed they didn't do the co-op fight in the original game? Oh, did they not do that? Oh, that's just even more reason why this game sucks. That was such a great thing about the original. God damn, this... LEGO games just suck nowadays. Ay. Yeah, just everything I hear about the new game just only further disincentivizes me from ever playing it. New Kirby is great. I've heard that. I've certainly heard from a lot of people that the new Kirby is great. And I'm sure it is, but it's just not a series that's ever particularly interested me. You think you're just gonna replay Complete Saga? You've made a good choice today. And the thing is, I don't even think that the Complete Saga is all that great overall. I'd probably give it a 7. Compared to the other LEGO games, like Indiana Jones and Batman, it's definitely probably the weakest of the bunch. Oh, if only because they were just getting started. Like, it was their first time making a LEGO game of that scale, which is understandable as to why it's kind of weaker. But I'd play that a million times over before I'd ever play the new one. What's my favorite level from Sonic 06? That's a good question. From Sonic's story, I'd probably pick either Wave Ocean or Radical Train. From Shadow's story, I would probably go with maybe Dusty Desert? I don't know. That's gonna be my answer for now, is Dusty Desert. From Silver Story, it's... I don't know. I've never really thought about it before. What's my favorite level from each of the stories? I guess I'll... I don't want to say Tropical Jungle, because I don't know... Maybe Tropical Jungle, I'm not sure. Not White Acropolis, I don't think. I know, it's hard to pick one from Silver Story. It's hard to pick one from Silver Story, but if I have to gun to my head, I would probably go with... I'd probably go with Tropical Jungle, honestly. We can all blame Lego Movie 2 game for starting this new Lego Games thing. Oh, it's not that game's fault. It started a while before that. I don't know what I'd pinpoint the exact time when it happened, but I'd probably go with... What's the point when the Lego games just went completely off the rails? I think Lego Batman 3 is the one I pinpoint as the moment where it all just started going downhill.
Okay, let's get going.
But yeah, I mean, Lego Movie 2 is the one that convinced the masses that it was this formula was awful, and then Skywalker Saga reverted them right back. But, ugh. You thought Lego Indiana Jones was 7 out of 10, and Complete Saga was 9 out of 10. So the problem with the Complete Saga is just that a lot of it gets repeated. A lot of it gets repeated over again with the challenge, the free play challenge mode. The bonus content is lackluster. And just because there's so much of it, it kind of drags on for a bit. Whereas Lego Indiana Jones is a very tight, compact experience. You ever played any Lego games? I'd recommend checking out Lego Star Wars, Lego Indiana Jones, and Lego Batman. As for Lego Indiana Jones 2, it's fun to play. The gameplay of Lego Indiana Jones 2 is fine. Especially Lego Indiana Jones 2 is the only game to this day in the series that actually has a level builder where you can build your own Lego levels, and it was awesome. But for some reason they never did that again after that point. So gameplay wise it's great, but it's a complete butchering of the story of the Indiana Jones movies, and I hate it for that. Lego Dimensions? No, I hate Lego Dimensions. I really hate it. I absolutely despise it. Because it's so cumbersome. Because it's the same Toys for Life thing that Skylanders does. The difference is that with Skylanders, you only have to change what Skylander you currently have on the Portal of Power when your Skylander dies. But in Lego Dimensions, you have to switch characters around. Not only take them off the pad, but switch positions on the pad multiple times mid-gameplay, which is unbelievably cumbersome to do. It's kind of insane how much that has to happen. I mean, yes, it's as far as the point where it flies off the rails, I can see why you might come to that conclusion, but Lego Batman 3 is what I would pinpoint, is just when things started getting insane. You can shoot them prematurely? Oh yeah, you can, because the hovercraft has a turret you can use to shoot them down. You agree that the blue mini kits in Super Story were annoying as fuck? After 100%ing it once, you can tend with just going to story and free play, and that's it. I guess I can see that, but I guess making, because I made a 100% walkthrough for that game almost 3 years ago, and I just got really worn out on playing those games over and over again, or playing the story mode, because I had to play those story missions over and over and over again, trying to 100% the damn game, and it was frustrating beyond belief. But even just my first time through, some of the mechanics were a little annoying, which is fine. I mean, because it's like I said, it's the first that they hadn't really found their footing yet with how to make a great Lego game, so it's understandable that it was kind of lackluster compared to their later entries. You find it hard to believe that a game made in 2022 can be so buggy and full of possible game-breaking glitches? You wouldn't think it would be. You would think by this point that as technology gets better, that there'd be less of this stuff, but the ship at broken fix-it-later mentality has only become more corrosive ever since, because now that there can be day one patches and constant updates, and there's no need to make the best product possible out of the gate. It's just, the problem's just gotten worse and worse with time. Was there any level in particular that gave me any trouble the first time I played it? No, not really. The first time I played this game, I had a very easy time making my way through it. The closest you'll get is, I guess Iblis Phase 2. Not because it was hard, it's because it was annoying as hell. Oh, actually no. The silver town mission where you have to pick up all the apples and put them in barrels, that was awful. But as far as the main levels are concerned, I never really had any problems with any of them as a kid. You don't really care about it ruining this. Oh. Well, there goes the S rank. That's unfortunate. Fortunately, we're not going for 100%. If I were going for 100%, or sorry, if I were going for S ranks, I'd be annoyed. But because I already did my job to get this to 100% this game, I don't need to do it again. Gameplay of 06 is amazing. How do people think that Sonic 2 is better than this game? Because they're insane. As you said, the Sonic fandom is absolutely insane. The game also looks mostly fine. It is mostly fine. It's very flawed, but at the latest you can get enjoyment out of 06. Oh yeah, so I've never claimed this game to be flawless. That's never something that I've ever said. The game certainly has its issues, but it's still a lot of fun, and I would play this a million times over before I ever touch Adventure 2 ever again. Because that was just a nightmare to deal with.
We're getting close to the
Just a miserable experience all around. You don't expect the game to be you don't expect games to be perfect and flawless, but you would at least expect serious glitches you would see in the early 2000s to be a thing in the past. You would think so, but because of the way game development works nowadays, it's just a ship it broken, fix it later mentality. So long as you can get so long as you ship a product that is mostly viable, and even then, executives don't really care about that. They just care about getting in the profits as soon as they possibly can. Which is what has led us to the current state of modern gaming.
Not even a challenge.
Okay. And now we enter a long string of cutscenes, so I can focus 100% on chat. So if anyone has any insightful questions, now is the time, because we're going to enter, I think, a 10-minute stretch of cutscenes. I'm honestly not sure how long it is. 06 was the first Sonic game you played as a kid. It was... Was it my first 3D? No, my first 3D Sonic game was Secret Rings. But I think this is the first one I played after that. Because the order, I played the original trilogy of games as a kid, and then, of course, like, Sonic Labyrinth and Sonic 3D Blast and those kind of, and Mean Bean Machine, all those miscellaneous games as a kid. I played those games.
The former king of Soliana used to reside in
As for 3D games, I played Secret Rings when I was young as well, and then after that, I think this actually was the next 3D Sonic game I played. Then I played Generations,
which caused...
Then I played
I
Colors.
think the name of the plan was...
I played a little bit of Unleashed between then and there. So yeah, that's probably my experience with that. You don't mind if a game has a bit of bugs, stuff that it wouldn't be fine easily, but you cannot have progression breaking or say it glitched in one. Yeah, no, so it's understandable for a couple minor glitches here and there, but when you have major game breaking stuff, like you said, that's just that's where it crosses the line. It's indefensible for a game to launch in that state. Kind of like Security Breach. Just as a random example. Have I seen the Snapcube Sonic fan dubs? I've been made aware of them. Yes, I have. I heard. I heard. I've seen the infamous clip from Adventure 2's Dark Story, and then I've seen some highlights from this game. It seems like Mephiles is really just the core of what makes that so much fun to watch. The story of 06 could be great, but it makes no sense. Yeah, it makes no goddamn sense at all. The three individual story. Well, I mean, it's not. So Sonic's story technically follows. It's just that it's so tiring to have to rescue at least 6 million times over and over and over again. The mechanics of what happened between Mephiles and Iblis, and then the time travel there is mostly solid. It's just that the last story ruins stuff. Everything with the last story and whatever happens with blowing up the flame and creating the time paradox is what breaks it. Eggman's Mean Bean Machine sounds like a game that is completely insane to thought of that title. I don't know, I think it kind of rolls off the tongue. I don't know, out of context it's a little strange, but I think it works for what it is.
Oh, how ironic fate can be.
You said that my favorite game villain was GLaDOS, so what's my favorite movie villain? Ooh, that is a good question that I probably don't have a great answer for right now off the top of my head.
Who are you?
My gut instinct is to say, I don't even know.
Mephiles the Dark.
My gut instinct was tilting me towards The Incredibles or Toy Story 3 for favorite villains of all time.
What? Did you forget me?
Possibly either Jafar or Scar. Jafar or Scar, two great picks.
I owe much to your shadow.
That's tough. I don't
Oh yes.
think I have a great answer at the top of my head, unfortunately.
What you gave to me,
But those are gonna be
I now
my answers for the
return
time
to
being.
you. A one-way ticket to oblivion.
I see there are many quotes going around of the fandom of this, of which I've only seen bits of it, so I don't have the full context for all of it. Okay, now we're going into the future to meet up with Sonic and friends, where we will then play Crisis City and Flame Core again.
What is this?
Joker and the Dark Knight, it's not even close. I have never seen the Dark Knight, or I've not seen anything from the Dark Knight trilogy.
Well, let's find out where we are.
I've only heard about it tangentially from other people. Never seen it for myself.
Mephiles. Who is he?
I want this just random black and white clip here for some reason. Crisis City is amazing and your favorite level in the game. It's just been many people's favorites. I mean, there's a reason it was brought back in Generations. It definitely seems to be the one that's stuck with people the most.
Our location.
But it's never been my favorite.
No, that's not possible.
This chunk of the game, the Crisis City Flame Core back-to-back, has always been my least favorite part of.
Wait, there's no
Really
doubt
both.
now.
In all three stories.
It's not where we are.
You like Crisis City as Silver? Yeah, it's fine there. But Flame Core as Silver might be my least favorite part of this entire game.
Through time, doesn't it?
Especially because of that final... If I have to pick one level that gave me a hell of a time trying to S-rank it on hard mode, it's Flame Core on
Depending on when
Silver's
the
Flame
data
Core.
was last updated.
It's horrible. Trying to S-rank that mission is a
At least we
nightmare.
know we've arrived in the future. That means this Mephiles character has the power to control time.
His power.
Now loading the game. Now loading the game is, like,
Chaos control.
half the game.
But
And you see even more loading screens in this stream because I actually do all the, well, not all of them. I haven't done all of them. I skipped one town mission back in the forest. It's because it's tough to get S rank there. So I'm not gonna do. And also, there's one town mission coming up later, after we get back to the new city, where you have to, it's a race in the armed buggy, and I don't. No, absolutely not. I don't want to deal with that race. That go-kart racing thing is a nightmare to control. Your favorite level is Wave Ocean? I can see that. Yeah, Wave Ocean is in contention for my favorite level for Sonic Story. And even for Shadow Story, it's fine.
Hi.
I just missed the Mach Speed section from Sonic's. And Silver Story, I mean, it works out nicely because Blaze does you play as Blaze there, and Blaze is probably the best side character to play as in the game. It just sucks that you barely get to play as her. Have I heard of Project 06? If you mean P06, then yes, I have heard of it. I've not played it, but I have heard of it.
From our own timeline.
I'm not particularly interested in checking it out, but I have heard of it. Or see her. Yeah, you also barely see her.
Eggman's got some nerve dropping us here.
Which is unfortunate. Why is it always the characters you really like to get shafted? It's unfortunate, because I'd like to know more about Blaze. I just don't know anything about her. Except what this game tells me, which is nothing. Despite the fact that it clearly implies that she has a history with Sonic that we just never learn about.
Yes, but that alone is insufficient. Okay, Shadow. It looks like we need to work together.
You recommend playing Sonic Rush? I've heard that's good. People actually, that's recommended to me multiple times. But I just haven't given it a chance yet. After playing on an emulator, the load times are worse. Yeah, after seeing you play, I mean, they still don't really bother me. I'm still used to having to sit through these loading screens, but they're definitely more noticeable having seen how fast they can be. All right, let's see how long it takes me to lose this armed buggy, because I don't think I've ever gotten this all the way through. Because it has such abysmal health. I don't think I've ever actually successfully gotten this armed buggy through this section in one piece. And that would be why. That would be why. We already have 1 HP left. Alright then, there it goes. It was nice knowing you, car. I shall walk now. I shall now walk through the city, because my car was just destroyed by a bunch of random falling objects. Lovely. Alright, well, let's just taking a stroll. Milo Murphy's Law song. Taking a stroll, something or other, I don't know. Yeah, this section is designed to skate down it as Sonic and to drive through it as Shadow. The problem is that the car never lasts long enough to drive through. So we're just gonna go ahead and take a nice casual stroll through Crisis City. Let's see how it works out for us. Favorite animatronic from FNAF? I think someone asked me this question before. I don't think I actually had a good answer because I never really thought about it before. The original Springtrap design was great before. I'm still not a big fan of Scraptrap, and I mean, design-wise, I'm not a fan of Scraptrap in Pizzeria Simulator, and then don't even get me started on Burn Trap and Security Breach. My favorite animatronic. I've never really given much thought to this, honestly. There's just some questions that I just never really thought about, and this would be one of them. So, Withered Bonnie's yours. Yeah, that seems to be a lot of people's what they go for, because Withered Bonnie just has really solid design. But if I have to pick it, honestly, it might be Baby. Baby's design, probably something because the sister location designs, having the faceplates come off, like shift around, is a really subtle detail that's awesome. Their personalities are great in Sister Location without being overbearing like they are in a certain other game. And narratively, they all have importance. Probably one of them, honestly. Oh no, my car broke. Now I have to use my super speed to get through the level. Yeah, my car just disappeared into thin air. because of random objects I could not control. Would I rather watch Toy Story 4 or play Security Breach? Watch Toy Story 4. And you want to know why? It's not even because, I mean, well, it is partly because the movie is shorter than the game. But here's the thing. I have spent so much time analyzing Toy Story 4 and watching I have combed through that film so much, frame by frame analysis, that it no longer feels like a real movie anymore. Like, when I watch that movie, I just see the structure of it. I see, that's where my first video stopped. That's where my second video stopped. And I just see the inner workings behind the scene. Every scene feels too short now that I've dragged them out to hell in my series. Which is actually good, because I've done such a thorough job eviscerating it mercilessly. It doesn't feel like a movie anymore. It just feels like a collection of scenes that I picked apart to pieces. To try to make my series. So when I watch Toy Story 4, it's just an enigma of an existence that I don't really, which is probably good, because I guess that because I've done such a good job of annihilating it, that all I see are the inner workings of the script, and no longer do I actually see the movie itself anymore, which is what I was hoping for. I mean, I guess I should say it was an unintended side effect of making that series. So that's nice. Will I play Your Turn to Die when it's finished? When the game is fully out and all chapters have been released, I will play it. Until then, I will not. I don't want to start it until I know I can finish it. Your favorites are either Baby or Springtrap. Yep, those are probably the ones I was swinging between as well. Yours is the Puppet. That definitely. I don't even know that the thing is, I mean, yes, by all technicality, it fits the in-game description of what an animatronic is in terms of the gameplay specifications, but it is just a puppet, not an animatronic, so. But yeah, just narratively, especially after Pizza Race Simulator, definitely Puppet is a good choice. A lot of people don't like Sister Location, you don't know why. Probably because it's the most linear of the bunch. The best Sister Location experience is your first one, because after you play it once, you kind of do, because it's a more cinematic, story-driven experience than the other games. The other games are more active user input gameplay, and Sister Location does have some of that, of course, because it has the you know, the Ballora Gallery, the puppet, the mini-arena minigame, Funtime Freddy's, Park and Service tasks. You have the Funtime Auditorium. You have Under the Desk. You have a lot of minigames. It's kind of, the way it describes this location is it is a collection of minigames strung together by an overarching narrative, which makes it more of a simulated, or more of a cinematic experience, which I guess it makes, because the other games have, I think, more replay value, because this location is more cinematic and story-driven, so that might be why. But, yeah, as a horror experience, it's definitely one of the stronger FNAF games. You think Security Breach suffers from this series is popular and makes money, we can't let it die, so what if the previous game is solved and put an end to everything? Yeah, it's clearly a case of, who cares what happens? It's FNAF. People will love it no matter what we put out. Who cares if it's broken and not fun to play? Who cares if the story makes no sense? It's the characters you love. Don't you like Springtrap? Would you like to see him again? Well, boy howdy, do I have some great news for you. Here he is. It's the Springtrap back again. Don't ask me how, but he's still alive. Imagine if the Gregory from Security Breach grew up to be Gregory Edgeworth. So here's the thing. I actually contemplated making an edit. So you know how Yogi Bear is a bear? And you know how Yanni Yogi is named Yanni Yogi? I was considering making an edit of when you're in one of the loading elevators with where Gregory and Freddy are in the elevator. And you just put Yanni Yogi's face over Gregory. Or sorry, over Freddy. And then when you turn out of the elevator, like when it opens up to take you to the next floor, you just see, instead of it being the map bot that jump scares you, it's Manfred von Karma. Since you're playing from Gregory's POV. I thought that'd be funny. I never made it. But I figured I'd tell you all my great idea that I never made. Since I'm probably never going to actually edit that. You have to work now. Happy you didn't have to remove any spoilers. See you after work. Alright. Hope you have a good time at work. Good luck. And hopefully get to see you after sometime later in the stream. Have a lovely day at work. What Shadow's power up in this game? You never understood what it was as a kid. So basically, he has So it just when you fill up the gauge and then you push right trigger, it increases your damage for the Chaos Spear attack, which is the when you jump and press X and it stuns enemies. That does more damage and it stuns them a bit better. But as far as the actual homing attack, instead of having to manually move between oh my god, no, that was close. Instead of having to manually move between targets when you homing attack like this, you can just hold the A button and it'll automatically snap between targets. So that's kind of what that does. How are we all doing? I am doing great today. Playing a game I very much enjoy, which after playing a game that I hate with every fiber of my being, I am having a great time right now.
How big is this fire?
The best part of Sister Location is entered night 5 in the office. Such a good challenge, and there's great stuff from Baby. Yeah, that's it's great because it has the more story-driven, narrative, open-ended style of the main campaign mixed together with the custom night and just the night 5 bonus minigame. So yeah, it's great how they balance that. However, that section is literally impossible on consoles, and I hate it. On the console port, the sound effects just don't play for when Ennard is moving around, which makes it impossible, which I hate. What would I say is the most overhated video game ever? Probably this, honestly. Because I can't really think of any other games that the world despises that I thoroughly enjoy and think are, well, yeah, no, it's probably this one. Because Captain Toad Treasure Tracker isn't a game that's hated, it's just a game that I don't really see anyone talk about. Same thing with Dragon's Lair 3D. No one knows that game exists, so it's not overhated, it's just underrated. So I'd probably go with this one. You love how they made power a huge threat and you have to consider every single percentage. Yeah, it's probably, it's more in tune with the first game, because the first game, what's it? The first game is the one where power is really important, where you have to really manage it, and then they kind of bring that back for Sister Location's custom night. Although I will say, it was too much initially. I think someone did beat it pre-patch, but Scott had to actually patch the game so that it could be beat, because the power was just almost unfairly hard when Golden Freddy mode first came out. And then he had to fix it afterwards. Have I seen the Madagascar trilogy? Yes. And I like it a lot. The first movie is like a 5 or 6. The second movie is probably a 8. And the third movie is probably a 7, but it does have a really solid ending to the trilogy. How far am I with Shadow Story? I'd say I'm probably about a third of the way through.
What's he doing here?
Probably around 2 hours left of the stream. Give or take. When people think of Dragon's Lair, the only original arcade version and NES version will come to mind. Yeah, I wouldn't even say the NES version. I think the first thing to come to mind is the original arcade version, which is great. It's a great arcade game, and I still boot it up every now and again on the Switch whenever I want to just have a nice trip down memory lane. But I would rather play the console version, which is Dragon's Lair 3 Return to the Lair, than I would the arcade version. It just has so much more replay value and it's so much fun. Genuinely, like I'll sing its praises forever. It's my favorite game of all time.
Let's go.
You like how I don't change rails and just take oh yeah, I don't want to deal with the game's rail switching. Rail switching, I've done it. Yeah. But it's a nightmare. I don't switch rails in this game. That you're asking for death if you do that. When did I first play Sonic 06? August of 2014. Because this game was a birthday present for me in July of 2014. I think I beat Sonic's Story in August, and then I think I beat the game over the course of the first semester that year, so I think by Christmas I had beaten the full game. You have to go now. Have a say. Thanks for tuning in, Frank PA2. Hopefully you enjoyed what you were here for, and hope to see you soon for whatever you want to watch next.
Unlike a certain echidna I know.
What?
What's my favorite Sonic Adventure stage?
Have you guys discovered anything?
Probably Emerald Coast.
Yeah. I received a signal indicating.
Have I seen the famous Club Wario does in a car crash? No, I have not.
You mean we've got to go through there?
If you don't like it,
I will say, it's gonna be interesting for me to, because I've only ever played Generations with having played a very small percentage of the Sonic games So, like, obviously I knew Green Hill Zone. Everyone knows Green Hill Zone. I knew Chemical Plant Zone, because obviously. I don't think I ever made it to Sky Sanctuary Zone as a kid, so that was new. Speed Highway, never played Adventure. City Escape, never played that one. Never played Adventure 2. Sonic Heroes, never played that. And then, obviously, I played 06, but Unleashed, I hadn't played that. And then, I hadn't played Colors before. I played Colors after I played Generations, so I'm interested in playing Generations now that I've played or after I have played all those and seeing how it changes things. Girl Who Stands Behind versus Sonic Adventure 2. Girl Stands Behind. Any day of the week. It's less okay, game. Guess I missed the boost panel. It's significantly less painful than Adventure 2. Someone asked, do I dislike Mary Sue's? I dislike Mary Sue's and Gary Stu's. Just any character that has everything handed to them on a silver platter and has no development or anything to justify it, I despise it. Like, Professor Layton is a Gary Stu, and I hate him. It's just my standard applies to any character who just is given everything and can do everything with no development, or justification, or backstory. It's just lazy writing. Have I had to objectively look at this game, which I could argue is impossible? It absolutely is. It's 100% possible. Do I enjoy the game despite its flaws, or I think its flaws are overstated? The flaws are easily overstated. I have objectively looked at this game, and it's significantly better than people make it out to be. I'm pretty sure I talked about this in the original Sonic Adventure 2 reply chain. My initial impression of this game was way more positive than it is now. Because when you're a kid, your standards are way lower. But since I first played this game, I've gone back to look at it, and there's still stuff here that doesn't hold a well to scrutiny, but there's a lot that does. So, if I had to give it a score, it probably wouldn't crack a 6 or... I think the highest I'd be willing to give it is probably a 6. Maybe. Yeah, 6 is probably where I'd land with this game, as an objective rating. By that I mean it's really D instead of an F. If you go by grading systems, then sure. But there's a significantly greater quantity of F than there is anything of failing grades than there are passing. Very few games will crack above that if we go by that standard. Using a number system is not the same thing as using a letter system. The only reason I like this is because of nostalgia. Well, if you go by Sonic Adventure 2 Defenders, then that's the conclusion you'll come to because they can't think for themselves. They just resort to that one defense every single time of, oh, it's just nostalgia, with absolutely zero self-awareness whatsoever. Absolutely none. Jockey Best Girl? I would say so. You read that before I said the number store? Ah, well, I just don't think that it's comparable to assign the standard pass-fail A through F system to the 1 through 10 rating system. Because if we were to go by that metric, then you're right, a 6 out of 10 would be considered a... Because if you scaled it up to, like, a test score, that's 60 out of 100, which is barely above a failing grade. Whereas a 6 out of 10 game is something that's like, well, I don't know. It's not an amazing game, but it's still enjoyable, it's still fun. It's still fine to play. So I don't think they're comparable grading systems. What's the worst scene in the Halo show so far? It's easily the stupid operations scene. The scene where they kill the clone to implant its consciousness in, or not conscious, to implant a clone of its neural network into Chief's brain almost made me want to stop watching entirely. But it's really, like, it wins in a landslide, not because the other scenes are any better, but because they're not visually disturbing. What's a game that has a deep lore? FNAF. I mean, I don't like the direction the FNAF lore is taken, obviously. If you heard my thoughts on Security Breach, then oh boy. Or if you've heard other things. I don't like the direction the FNAF games have taken, but it does have extremely complicated lore to it. Halo has very deep lore. That's another one. You give the game a 5 and say it's below average? I think 5's probably a fair score. 5 or 6, I think, is where this game would objectively land overall. Which is still a significantly greater margin than Adventure 2, because Adventure 2 gets a 1. And it only gets a 1 because I can't give it a 0, and it gets that 1 probably from music. And like I said, a 5 or 6 is still a perfectly average, enjoyable experience. Which is way more than people tend to give this game. Kirby, I was not aware that Kirby had very deep lore, but I am more than willing to take your word for it that it does. Most of Kirby's lore is hidden in pause screens and other hidden descriptions. I think I did it recently about that on the Discord, that apparently there's a lot of pause screen lore. But like I said, I never played any of the games, so I can't really. All I know, my only experience with Kirby as a character is the fact that in high school, in high school, my AP US history teacher was, so what we had a video game lunch club in high school where we would all, every Friday would get together to play games. Now, I never really played the games because I was under the impression that we would actually play a different game each week. Nope, it was only Smash. They only ever played Smash and nothing else, so I didn't really want to play because I just don't play Smash. I just don't like those types of brawl games for the most part, so I was never interested in actually playing the games, but it was a place for us all to hang out and eat lunch together and just have a fun time chatting or whatever. But I mentioned my teacher because my AP US history teacher was the proctor for that club, so he was always in the room with us, and occasionally he would battle the students in fights, and his main was Kirby, and he was really good with Kirby, and I distinctly remember once. So Brooks had a counter in high school where he would count all the times that that teacher bullied him, quote unquote bullied him, basically just making fun of Brooks because it was very easy to do. Obviously lighthearted because you can't, no teacher would ever, well, this teacher wouldn't have actually maliciously done anything to harm him, but it was all lighthearted banter. So Brooks had a counter of every time he did that, and because it was our junior year. That was the last year that teacher was going to be there before he left to go to a different place. Kind of like leaving the school to go somewhere else. And Brooks was determined to get the counter up to 100 by the end of the year. So one day, our teacher sat down and said, "Give me the controller," and he battled Brooks in a 1v1 with Kirby. And I think we were at like 90. it was at like 90 or something out of 100 times he bullied him. So he grabbed the controller, played as Kirby, and just absolutely curb stomped Brooks. Put the controller down, walked back to his desk, and said, "That's 100." And I was just like, "Oh my god, that was a glorious moment." But yeah, that's my only experience with Kirby, is that I know that my AP US history teacher in high school was what mained Kirby in Smash Brothers. That's all I know. Sure, whenever I was watching the Halo show, I would be smashing my head against the wall, man, for Von Karma style. No, I would be more just, like, trying to shield my eyes from the absurdity that I was, or just the disgusting crap I was being forced to watch.
Perfect.
Smash is so overused. That happened at your school, too. You wish you got to face Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat a few times. Oh, I would just campaign for anything that's not a fighting game. How about we just play other games, other game types? I don't know, it seemed like a good idea to me. So we don't play the same thing every time. But, eh. It's my favorite fighting game? I don't really have one. I don't play fighting games. It's just not, it's never been my genre. The scariest thing that ever happened to you is that you were almost groomed by one of your teachers? Oh my Jesus Christ, I am very sorry to hear that happened. I did not know that. That's... Yikes. Okay, you have my condolences and my sympathies for having had to go through that, Jesus. your people don't consider Smash a fighting game, well, that would just be incorrect. Like, factually, it would be incorrect, because it is by definition a fighting game. Like, even if you don't like Smash, it fits the category of what a fighting game is by definition. It's kind of the same thing when people say, when people say, what's it? Well, when people say Marvel movies aren't cinema, it's like, no, they very much are cinema. They are, by definition, cinema. But it's dumb. It's dumb whenever anyone does that. Alright, now we get to do my favorite boss in the entire game.
I need to find some way to draw him in.
You're pretty sure that, Sakurai himself called it a party game? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't matter, because on the game's website, it is defined as a fighting game, so that's not gonna fly. It is, by definition, a fighting game. Play other games? Well, Sonic Adventure 2. No, it would have had to been something on the Switch. Because that was the only... It used to be the Wii U was what we played, but then once the Switch came out, that was the console we would always use to play games. Old dudes are just mad more people watch Marvel than their movies, hence they can't be good as much as Team Arts. Well, it's the same thing with animation, because it's recently came out something about how after Beauty and the Beast 1, they had to make a separate category for animation because they were afraid of them, the animated movies, stealing the spotlight from quote-unquote real movies, which just gives you a peek into how broken and bullshit the Oscars are. She thankfully was fired and convicted, but she offered to drive you home and rub your shoulders once. I am sorry you had to go through that. That's awful. Yeah, I thankfully never had to experience that. There actually was a teacher at my school that I'm obviously not going to name for privacy reasons, but there was someone at my school who actually was fired. I don't know if he was convicted, but he was fired for inappropriately touching girls, because there was a camping trip we went on as a collective class before school started. We would go on a kind of a team bonding camping trip thing, and while we were on that trip, the group of students that he was responsible for watching, apparently he was very inappropriate with them verbally and physically. So yeah, thankfully I never had to experience that, but I can't say that I never had any experience with a teacher at my school doing stuff like that. Thought he was already known? Oh, it might have been. I guess I should have rephrased. I recently saw that was what happened. That might have been known already. I just didn't know that. I learned something new. How the hell do people get like this kind of position of a teacher of all things? Because, well, at least in the case of my school, they valued their academic prowess above all else. For instance, the engineering teacher at my school was awful. He was a terrible, disgusting person, to the point where he would actually like make... I don't know how much I want to say about this. One of my friends had a conference with like a teacher-student meeting just to discuss something. And he made a comment about his mother that I don't want to repeat, and it's just he was awful to the students. He picked one student out of the batch every single year. That was the golden child. That was the golden child that he would hold up like a god, and everyone else sucked. So one person was the golden child. Everyone else was just like rats to him. He would just grind up with no concern for their mental health whatsoever. He was a terrible person. But the school, and it was to the point where the entire engineering class collectively, as a group, went to the principal and said, "This teacher is awful. He's mistreated all of us. Please do something about this." And they didn't. And the reason why is because there's no one else in the area that was as talented with engineering and was proficient with that subject matter as he was. That's what they value. They value their contributions to the school above the contributions to the students' mental well-being, which is horrible and I hate it. People can be awful sometimes, indeed they can. It's just, some teachers are just suck. And they'll never fire him. They will never ever fire him. They will keep him until the day he retires. And at that point, I don't know what they're gonna do, because he's been the core of their engineering program since it was founded, I'm pretty sure. Also, as a radical change of topic, watch closely.
And he doesn't have a chaos.
Watch the subtitles here very closely and compare it to what they say over the intercom.
Report your status immediately. Have you retrieved the Book of Darkness?
Well, I'll provide a full report shortly.
Have you retrieved the Book of Darkness?
Right now, I have a priority.
The subtitles said, have you retrieved the Scepter of Darkness?
Contact E123 Omega immediately.
Guess no one caught that. Yeah, so that's just a brief summary of how terrible things could be. But I will say, I don't want to make it sound like high school was just all terrible, awful, because I mean, hey, I met Forgot 45 there, which is like the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I made a lot of great memories in high school. It was a very formative experience for me, but there was a lot of bullshit that happened during that time in my life. And like I said in my Persona 5 series, I could write a whole book out of what happened in middle school and high school. More than likely it was a book in an earlier draft. Possibly, I don't even... it'd be very interesting... If this already exists, I don't know about it, but it'd be interesting to see a post-mortem of just what happened with this game. Just a behind-the-scenes look at what went wrong at what point along the way.
You can't move on until the enemies are gone.
Good teachers to get to. Oh yeah, there were plenty of awesome teachers in high school. One of my favorites was my computer science teacher. She was one of my favorite teachers I've ever had. And my Spanish teacher was also incredible. Every Spanish teacher I ever had, except for the one in 6th grade, who was just a terrible teacher. From 8th grade to 11th grade, every Spanish teacher I ever had was very, very compassionate and funny and knowledgeable about the subject matter. So I was very, very pleased with how that all went down. You hate Shakespeare? Join the club. I despise... Anytime we had to read Shakespeare in high school was only pain. Do we S-rank it? Looks like we did. Yeah.
What did you think of
I almost... 48,000 points from time bonus alone. I'm pretty sure it's possible to only S-rank from time bonus if you're fast enough. But it would be very interesting to see a post-mortem on Sonic 06's development. Yuji Naka left the studio with half the studio with him, and then they invited the team of the two again for the Wii port, which then turned into Secret Rings. That does sound familiar. But I'd still love just a really in-depth dive into everything, the development of this game, and all the ups and downs it went through.
This is a charming little place. Hi, long time no see.
One of my thoughts of Rouge's VA compared to Adventure? Well, that's a pretty low bar, but I think she's way better in this game. Your technology teacher in 7th grade was awesome. She would buy you donuts from Krispy Kreme every morning. Krispy Kreme, let me tell you something about Krispy Kreme. I just associate that with my high school years.
Deliver it to Shadow.
Because we would have sort of like advising meetings every Friday morning with our sort of homeroom kind of gathering. And that was so one person was in charge of bringing snacks every Friday for the whole group to eat. And more often than not, it was just Krispy Kreme.
System reactivation.
Krispy Kreme donuts were the go-to snack that people brought in.
Power source. Spare magazines secured. Command program priority change. New mission, shadow support. External access no longer permitted.
We are seeing an excessive amount of fandom references here today.
Counting on
How Yasuhina liked that. Every VA is better here. The SAVAs are comical. Yeah, they're just, well, they're comical in the first game. Second game is just surrounded by pain. One of your new teachers is a massive Pokemon fan. He puts them all into all his slides, and he has some old Pokemon game running on a school computer.
Why are you
That's pretty
here?
neat.
Did you ruin this world?
The answer is yes and no. Perhaps it's better to show you.
Isn't Omega's voice in this game the same as Meow from Pokemon? I do not know the answer to that question. I have no idea.
That's you.
I don't think I know any of the
After
voice
the
actors in
world
this game.
was devastated by Iblis's flames. What
Well, I guess except for Sonic's voice, and obviously Eggman, because Mike
search
Pollock
for
is
the
just
guilty.
legendary and undying.
Who did this, you may ask?
But the others, I don't think so. I don't believe I know them from anywhere else.
Of your power. They feared it.
Also, you'll see when we get to the credits, but Princess Elise's voice actor is always at the top of the list. Like, in this Sonic the Hedgehog game, even in the stories where Princess Elise isn't even remotely relevant, like Shadow Story, for instance, she's still the top of the list for voice actors.
It's only fair to give back what was intended for you.
Knuckles and Evelyn are voiced by the same person in this.
Have every right.
I didn't know that, but now that I do know that, I hear it.
That's absurd.
I can definitely hear it. I do sound very similar.
You want to do, you can do it alone.
Has there ever been a stage show that made me have I ever been to a stage show that made me refuse to leave the theater? I wouldn't know. I've never left a theater stage show before.
Own destiny.
So I cannot answer that question. Favorite and least favorite Agatha Christie book? Man, I'm looking at my bookshelf right now. See if I can pick before the game loads in. Favorite is probably
Foolishness. Very well. Let's see if you can entertain me.
favorite is probably either Murder on the Orient Express or the ABC Murders. Least favorite? Never really thought of a least favorite. It's probably either Murder on the Lynx, Mystery of the Blue Train, or I don't know, maybe Peril at End House. I never really read any of the Miss Marple. I haven't read all of them, and I haven't read many of the Miss Marple stuff. So I can't really have a comprehensive answer for all of them. But those would be my initial gut answers. You love grinding for power-ups? Yeah, this is very time-consuming. You just have to mash the homing attack until eventually your gauge fills up to maximum. Favorite book in general is To Kill a Mockingbird. Never read that. If I had to pick a favorite book in general, it's probably going to be The Fall of Reach. Fall of Reach is such a great book. Even if you don't know what Halo is, it's just a great read. But runner-ups definitely include one of the Spy School books, one of the Fun Jungle books, maybe Space Case. Diversion is up there, Hunger Games is up there. A lot of great books I've read. Great Prussian was the worst Shakespeare you've ever witnessed. I've never seen a Shakespeare. I've only ever read Shakespeare in school. I've never seen a Shakespeare play. Which is probably to my benefit. Read it, it's a great work, and even had a lawyer. I have heard that it's a really great book, I've just never read it. It's not been something that I've gotten around to doing. You only read Lord Edgeware Dies. That one's pretty good. Oh, I completely forgot. And Then There Were None is great, too. I still don't think it would make one of my favorites. But that was a great one as well. And that was actually my first Agatha Christie book I ever read, was And Then There Were None. Mad Space vs. Security Hall. Mad Space is slightly better because it doesn't have a timer. If that's the only reason why is because it doesn't have a timer. I need to bump it up next to my reading list. So the problem is that I have so little time to read nowadays that it'll probably take me a while to do it.
Now is designated time.
And I also just don't read books in multiple. I always read books in one sitting, because that's just how I read books. So, like, which has always surprised people, because usually people will read a chapter at a time, a couple chapters at a time or whatever. Now I always read them in one sitting. It's just how I consume novels, which would add to the time it takes to get through that. Security Hall doesn't make sense, and she doesn't she work for a gun? Yeah, I mean, well, if you want to talk about the story of Adventure 2, we can do that. I won't be of any assistance because I can't tell you what happened in the story, except that government did experiment. The Gerald Robotnik and the Ultimate Life Form had a prototype, and now, as revenge for government investigating and shutting him down and killing his daughter, he's going to turn against everything, and it'll come crashing down and destroy the planet or whatever. I don't give a shit. The story is insane. And even if it had the best story in the world, it wouldn't make up for the abysmal gameplay. Absolutely abysmal. It had 281 pages. Oh, I don't need... Regardless of how long the book is, I'd still do it in one sitting. It's just a matter of working it into my schedule. Okay, we're finally out of the Flame Core part of Shadow's story. Still looking at my bookshelf, see if there's anything else. The Big Nate books were ones I read in middle school. I haven't read them in a while, but I remember liking them as a kid.
Mission complete.
That's probably it. Maybe the Kingdom Keepers stuff.
Perfect mission.
I don't know. I've read a lot of great books over the years. Just haven't had time to read any recently. Except for the only time I've ever carved out time on my schedule to read a new book was whenever Stuart Gibbs releases one. Not the Charlie Thorne stuff. I haven't read any of the Charlie Thorne. Well, I tried to read the first Charlie Thorne book and I just couldn't do it. It was horrible. But his other stuff, his Five School and Fun Jungle series are great. Although honestly, I think his writing's gotten weaker over the years, but I'm still invested in reading them just to see how it all ends, to see how the story concludes. You're scared for the stream to end because you're playing Ultra Sparrows without this. Why are you doing that to yourself? I mean, I did that to myself because people wanted to see me play it, and then just so I could have the context for Danganronpa 3. But why would you do that to yourself? I feel like there are many better games. Just so you can beat every game in Danganronpa. As someone who's already done it, I promise you it's not worth it. It is so not worth it. There are many better games you could be playing. Ultra Sparrows is not one of them.
Nicholas is no longer here. I will assist in pursuing him.
It's not worth it, that's why you're doing it. That makes no sense. It's not suffering. I mean, I guess I'd rather play it than Adventure 2, that's for sure. But still. You played Adventure 2 on Discord, so now everyone wants to subject themselves to pain. Let's not do this. I don't want people to suffer playing awful games. Okay. Step 1. Buy memory shard. Step 2. Which town mission should we do next? Also, you can just hold that infinitely. Like, if you jump into the air and just hold X, you can just kind of hover here infinitely. It's kind of strange. You just float in the air for all of eternity. So, yeah, that's a thing you can do. Anyway, moving on. Yeah, I'm gonna do some town missions before we go to Radical Train. I'm gonna do some town missions. See how that turns out. Do I want to do? Oh, okay. You're the motorcycle guy. Yeah, I'll do your thing. Also, you like how I can't even see the NPC because the wall's in the way? I'm just doing this so I can reacquaint myself with motorcycle controls before I go, because motorcycle is going to be essential for the Radical Train level, so I wanna re-familiarize myself with how the motorcycle controls before I go play that level. Because I've had kind of a 50-50 experience with driving this thing around. Sometimes it works great, sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of a dice roll, how that shakes out. Okay, well, seems fine so far. Yeah, okay, that was more than alright. Although, since you mentioned Ultra Spherical, I guess just to say, for anyone who doesn't know, there's a scene in Halo Episode 3, the show, that is not, and it's not comparable because the context is different, but it just, tentacles make you think of things. So, unfortunately, that's always going to be associated with it in my head now. Thanks, Paramount. You guys are great. I love you so much. It's funny, Paramount is responsible for both the Sonic Movie 2 and the Halo show. From what I've heard, the Sonic Movie 2 is going to be a good time. But the Halo show is decidedly not a good time. So, not looking forward to that. Not looking forward to, because it's only been, we're only a third of the way done. There's still 6 more episodes of that shit. It doesn't help that Pablo Schreiber has been condescending as all hell on Twitter, going out of his way to further divide the fanbase while simultaneously saying that the fanbase shouldn't be divided on the show, which just end me now at that point. Blatant hypocrisy. We didn't look at the game. Well, so here's the thing. That quote was apparently taken out of context, allegedly. I don't buy that for a second. I think it's just them desperately trying to save face. But even if we take it, oh, that's not good. Okay, we gotta slow to a roll here so I don't destroy the motorcycle. Even if I believe that they did actually play the games and that it was just horribly misrepresentative of the actual what was actually said, it doesn't really matter, because the criticism would simply shift from you didn't play the games to you did play the games, and you either didn't understand them, or you just said you hated them, and you made a concerted effort to not pay attention to them whatsoever. Which is just equally awful. Gravemind or Prophet of Truth? Which would I say is a better villain? Prophet of Truth, easily. He's a mastermind. He's an absolute genius villain. He's a master of manipulation and making all the dominoes fall where he needs them to instill himself into the positions of power he wants to be in. It's really great stuff. Gravemind's certainly intimidating, being the Gravemind, the central nervous network, the central neural network of this army of virulent parasitic life forms. But as an actual villain, I definitely pick Prophet of Truth. But I will say, out of everyone in the series, my favorite villain is currently Escharum. I absolutely adore how Escharum was written in Halo Infinite. And really, the only thing that's stopping Halo Infinite from being my favorite game of the series is just that stupid equipment switcher and abysmal vehicle health. If it weren't for those two things, it would easily be my favorite in the series by a landslide. Because it's just, thinking of replaying it is just, oh girl, okay, well, I was controlling this well, now I'm controlling it like garbage. But I absolutely adore Halo Infinite's campaign. and look forward to playing, because I've replayed it 6 times at this point, and I've enjoyed it more and more every single time. The story and gameplay are just both phenomenal. The Chad Pablo the Penguin versus the Virgin Pablo Schreiber. Yeah, Pablo the Penguin is great, especially his voice actor, or at least one of his voice actors. So you have to leave now. You need to get back to studying. Enjoy the stream, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, Anonymous, and have a good time studying. Those back-to-back stages legendary. So if you're referring to Excavation Site and Conservatory, I've actually found a way to make those missions not painful at all. Excavation Site, all you have, so the way to tackle Excavation Site is you just have to preemptively destroy the 2 shade turrets, and then bring a volatile skewer and rocket launcher to the mission, and then shoot 1 skewer shot and 2 rockets from underneath the Phantom as it spawns in, will be enough to destroy it. And then as for the Jackal Snipers, if you go up into the tower where you fight Bassus, and then because a Jackal Sniper will spawn in that room. If you take his sniper rifle, it gives you a perfect vantage point of all the snipers that you can shoot down. So that and then Bassus, I actually beat him first try recently. All you have to just throw a blast coil as he spawns into the room, pulse carbine to drain his shield, and then swap out the pulse carbine for the skewer, and then alternate between the skewer and the needler to finish him off. So Excavation Site is now very easy. Conservatory, really the only annoying part about that is just those final 2 parts. The skimmer wave defense room is awful. If you don't, basically so you just have to. The mistake I made in the streamer in January is that I was trying to do it from the top area. You need to just hide in the sides, hide in the side area, use the drop wall, and then let the skimmers come to you. Don't try to snipe them down. Their ranged weaponry with the Shark Rifle is too powerful. You gotta let them come to you. And then for the final battle, that's just straight up hard. It's just rough to get through. So, I mean, I got lucky doing it first try on my stream, but I still do have a relatively consistent strategy to actually get through that now. How is Skywalker Saga so far? I've not played it, but I've seen enough gameplay to know that it is a terrible game. You should not buy it. Just play the complete saga instead. Never had a problem with Excavation Site, only I had. Oh, well. Even still with Conservatory, I found a way to make Conservatory significantly less painful. Your reward for getting all A ranks and all emblems in Sonic Adventure 2 is Green Hill Zone. I'll pass, thanks. I can just play the original Green Hill Zone, or the one from Generations. How would I rank? Truth, Tartarus, Gravemind, Aatrox, Escharum, Didact, Cortana from worst to best. Cortana's at the bottom, and it's not even close. Cortana is not. She's... I don't even think you need to explain to you why she's a terrible villain. She never should have been. She never ever should have been a villain in the first place. So Cortana's at the bottom, Escharum is on top, Didact is above Cortana. I think it would probably go Escharum, Truth, Aatrox, Tartarus, Gravemind, Didact, Cortana is what I would say. You bought it? I'm so sorry you wasted your money. I'd recommend getting a refund. Cortana, Dr. Doof. Yeah, so at least I'll always have memories of Halo 5 associated with Dr. Doof thanks to that stream I did last year. But it doesn't make her assassination any... Well, Infinite has made her assassination significantly less painful. But it doesn't make the initial sting any worse. I was so pissed off when I played that for the first time. I was so infuriated by that.
Yes.
At least there is a reward? Well, I mean, I don't really hinge a game's success on how I'm 100% reward.
Perfect.
I'm content with just the satisfaction of 100%ing it anyway. Like, Infinite doesn't have 100% reward either. But just the satisfaction of having sweep the entirety of Zeta Halo to get it all is enough satisfaction for me. In fact, it might actually annoy me more whenever games try to give you a lackluster reward, like Sunshine's JPEG image. Because that shows you they tried to make a reward and they just put in zero effort to do so. 1 Leads versus Adventure 2, I'd rather play 1 Leads a million times over. Still sucks. But, eh.
Hi. It seems like Eggman's machines are looking for you. What did you do this time?
Nothing. Their target is probably Mephiles.
Have I played Heavy Rain or Detroit Become Human? Yes, in fact, I actually have a full playthrough on the channel of Detroit Become Human.
I'm gonna ask him directly.
Hey, wait a sec.
If you can search for it, or
You keep
if one of the mods wants to link it, you can do that. But I have a full Let's Play on my channel of Detroit Become Human.
He finally shows up again, and then he leaves before even saying hello.
It's a pretty solid story,
Well,
but I was kind of
his
disappointed.
little trip hasn't
If only just because it was built up as this really gripping,
This is Rouge. GUNHQ?
gripping choice-driven experience.
Pull
Where,
all
like, you have to
available
think
data
really
on
hard to make the
Alpha
correct
Center
choices.
of Darkness.
I never had to really think hard at all about any choice I ever made, and I got the best ending on my first try, so it kind of, I mean, the story was gripping and engaging, but I bought the game because I wanted to have a really dynamic, choice-driven experience where it felt like every choice really mattered, but it didn't really feel that way, just because I got the best ending on my first try. It had more choices to make than any Telltale game. Yes, but I also Telltale games may have not ultimately had their choices matter in the end, but they felt like they mattered more than they did in Detroit Become Human. Even if it ultimately results in the same ending, it still had a more visceral impact on my experience. V3 ending versus Aviary Returning ending. Aviary Returning ending, because at least it doesn't. Well, I guess I don't have any investment in Aviary Attorney, so I don't really care. What's going on? We're going to play Radical Train right now. Currently, we're talking about Detroit Become Human and choice-driven games. At least not Minecraft Story Mode. Those games aren't very well written, but I certainly enjoyed playing them.
You're just wasting your time.
Season 1 more so than Season 2. Season 1 is definitely stronger than Season 2, but still. You don't think we've gotten a truly great choice-making game? Walking Dead and Batman Telltale are great stories, but the choice-making doesn't really matter for the most part. Well, so, the thing there is that the choices in Telltale games aren't really indicative of what ending you get. It's more of just honing your overall experience. Like, changing what route you go down, what the manner in which you complete the story, what characters you hang out with. Which I think I prefer, because it's very frustrating when you have... Like, if I want to get a better ending for Until Dawn or Detroit Become Human, I'd have to replay the whole thing essentially to make certain choices differently. Whereas with the Telltale stuff, you get the same ending for the most part no matter what. So that's that. Like, you get the same ending no matter what, with a few exceptions. However, the experiences themselves feel more different because of the characters you interact with and the paths you take. Have I played Batman Telltale? Yes, I played both seasons of Batman Telltale. Haven't played Story Mode Season 2 has the ending. It works as a good ending for the series. Basically, depending on whether you are more inclined to go... Depending on whether you're more adventurous or whether you're more... you want to kind of settle down, you can choose to end the way you want, and it's a nice bookend for the series. It left me very emotionally satisfied, even if Season 2 itself was a very bumpy ride. Someone in chat asks, you're currently playing Persona 4 Golden right now and you're loving it, but asks, have I ever played any of the Persona games? Boy howdy do I have a surprise for you. I have a full Let's Play of Persona 5 Royal. 89 episodes, completed in approximately 3 months. So yes, I have played Persona 5. What do I think about my Telltale? I need to play them again to get a better judgment, but, I don't know which one is better. My gut instinct was to say the first season was better, but now that I think about it, season 2 might be better. Season 2 probably has a stronger opening, but kind of a weaker resolution, whereas season 1 kind of is a slower build to the good stuff. I don't know, I'd have to play them again. I think they're both solid stuff, though. Telltale, that was bad timing. I didn't time that well at all. Telltale shut down season 3. Well, so, I mean, Telltale went out of business, but they've been revived, technically speaking. The problem is that I have no interest in whatever new Telltale makes, because it's not the same people that made it. Like, the people currently working at Telltale are not the same people that made the original Telltale games we all know and love. It's just not the same people, so I don't... Telltale's more than a name, it's the people that made them, and the people that are making those games are not the same people that made the ones we love. I looked up all the endings of Aviary Attorney, there's no real good one. Not surprised. Not surprised there's no real good ending for that one. Would I rather see the tentacle scene or the operation scene? I can close my eyes for the operation scene. I can't do anything to avoid a tentacle scene, because I have to keep my eyes open to play the tentacle scene. I can't close my eyes to avoid the operation. So I can't... I can just... close my eyes for operation. If season 3 comes out, it would be like a New Frontier where they screw up whatever your choice was. That was also... I hated when New Frontier did that. I absolutely hated when New Frontier did that, because there was so much potential for how Clementine's story could have gone in season 3, and how your choices could have affected it. But nope, none of it. It's just, they just said, fuck you, whatever ending you had doesn't matter, everyone died, moving on. Which is awful. Awful writing.
It's all linked to the Soliana disaster 10 years ago.
You recommend Persona 3 the second it gets announced for PC? It's on par with Persona 5 and it was made for tactics gameplay, so I might have more fun with it. Maybe I will, maybe I won't, who knows. But next up on the chopping block is going to be Persona 4 Golden. Not anytime soon, but eventually. I do want to check out the other games. I don't think they'll be as good as Persona 5, but still. I'm curious to see how they're going to be. Wouldn't the door have been easier? And maybe if you weren't on a moving train, yeah, that'd be something.
I knew it! I knew you'd return. You had to.
You again. This time, there will be no more interruptions.
They aren't as good as Persona 5. I wouldn't have expected them to be.
Must die.
I wouldn't have expected them to be. In the 4A ending, JJ becomes a killer, killing... I'm not gonna say it out loud for spoilers in case anyone cares. But... that's... Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Aviary Attorney doesn't have any satisfying ending, given how they wrote that one. I just as bad as I thought. They worked on Persona 5 for multiple years. I imagine they worked on most Persona games for multiple years.
Shadow the Hedgehog.
Just to the nature of how much time it takes to make a game of that scale.
Don't get in my way.
Aviary Attorney, you stopped watching after the LP after Case 1. Probably for the best, honestly. Persona 5 was 5 or 6 years, whereas Persona 4 came out 2 years, so you have to P3. That still constitutes multiple years of development time. Okay, I thought I was gonna miss that chance to attack, but I still nailed it somehow.
How about this? Take this!
Shadow roundhouse kicking Silver's hands down your favorite moment of the game. Well, I have great news for you. It's almost time for that moment. I just gotta beat Silver, and then you'll get to see it. Come on, Silver. Silver, grab stuff. Please. Silver, grab items, please. Thank you. You gotta keep him at just the right distance away. He can't be too far or else he won't stop to grab items, but he can't be too close or else he'll stop to grab you. Yeah, boop. It seemed like the game was having a sense of superiority over Ace Attorney. It was only a matter of time until it crashed and burned. In retrospect, it does kind of seem like it. It did kind of seem like I originally thought the changes they made were just an attempt to do their own thing, but it does seem like they kind of were spitting in the face of some of what Ace Attorney stood for. That's how you fight him. How can no one ever realize this? Because no one ever takes the time to stop and actually think about this boss battle when they do it. It's too easily memeable and bandwagonable to just get caught by him over and over again. 6 years and that's the best that could get Okumura's Palace to be. I've still yet to experience the original Okumura's battle, and original Okumura's Palace. I don't think I ever want to. From what I've heard, it's only pain. Even more so than as it currently stands. You saw a meme of Shadow Roundhouse kicking Silver and saying keep Rouge's name out of your mouth. Oh, the endless memes that has given us. Well, it's simultaneously depressing. Alright, here it comes. Here's your favorite moment. Get ready.
Chaos control!
There you go, you got it.
You don't bother with a chaos.
Why do I think it's trying to spin the face of Ace Attorney? Because it calls into question a lot of what the standard practices of Ace Attorney's narrative structure in terms of what it means to be a defense lawyer, and kind of its even just a subversion of some of its typical story tropes, while simultaneously pulling the same plot beats that Ace Attorney does, pretending to do them better despite the fact they do them infinitely worse.
Huh? You induced chaos control. I won't let anyone get in my way. I'll change the past and save the world.
Alright, gearing up for another lengthy cutscene featuring
Mephiles isn't trying to help you create a better future.
featuring Elise's father.
He's trying to eliminate the past. What? What are you talking about?
Basically, it's the guy in school who makes funny words but having the same answers. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Place 10 years ago. Follow me if you want the truth.
Except that it does it traces the same plot beats but does it worse. You recently got into Ace Attorney a couple of years back. You love it so much. Your favorite game is Great Ace Attorney 2, but Trials and Tribulations is close, insanely close. Yeah, those are definitely two of the strongest games in the series. I'm glad to hear you're loving it because Ace Attorney is one of the best game franchises ever made.
No, the level's not dropping. A spatial meltdown is inevitable.
It's second only to Halo in terms of my favorite game series of all time. It goes Halo, Ace Attorney, and those are the top two. Everything else is secondary. I think I answered that question in my Q&A video of what my favorites of all time are. Halo and Ace Attorney are up there. Is there a Castlevania game you can recommend for me to play? I probably won't ever play the Castlevania games. They don't seem like things I'd be interested in.
It's Iblis! And the Black Shadow is the original Mephiles. That's Mephiles.
Your favorite is Trials and Tribulations, but you also like Spirit of Justice and Greatest Attorney 2?
We'll have to
Yeah. Those are all great games.
Okay, then leave Iblis to me.
TNT and Greatest Attorney 2 are both S tier, and then Spirit of Justice is probably A tier. It's just the third case that really drags it down.
Hurry!
The cutscene implies Iblis and Mephiles were always separate entities, yet the game will tell you the opposite after this. Well, I don't think it's that. It's just that the Solaris is the form of them both combined, and that's what they were experimenting on in that little case before it exploded. But then when it exploded into two separate entities, one of which was Mephiles as a shadow, and then the other which was Iblis.
Mephiles, I won't let you escape.
What drags it for you is a civil trial. It's not even that it's a civil trial. It's just the fact that it starts out as a civil trial, which is a great potential for a story, and then it just becomes another standard murder trial, which is really unfortunate. There's the orange case and the one right above it. I do not know what you're referring to. But yeah, it starts out as a civil trial, and then it just sadly stops being that. When the second that it becomes the murder, just another standard murder investigation is when that's the point I just lost interest in the game entirely. Your favorites are Trials and Tribulations and Investigations 2 and Spirit of Justice, all great picks. Your favorite case is Bridge to the Turnabout, Farewell My Turnabout is second, Revolution comes to third, but it would be tied enough with Maya's abduction. Yeah, everything involving Maya's abduction, in fact that she was used as a hostage. The civil trial just lost so many points, not just because of Maya's abduction, but also because of the fact that it's just another murder trial repeated again. Capcom has a lot of respect from you. They made your favorite franchises as well as Mega Man franchise, arrangements with else and treat your employees well. Yeah, I think they just recently actually gave a massive raise to their employees, which is awesome to see. I don't really have much. I'm not really interested in any of their other franchises. Ace Attorney is the only Capcom thing I actually care about, but still, I have a lot of respect for them as a company, especially in the current state of game development. Post the screenshot on the server. I can't check it right now, but I'll check it after this. When I reach the next loading screen, I'll check it then. They try as hard as they can to make Apollo look better than everyone else in the room. This is an Apollo D-writing case. Does that happen? I don't know that they try that. I never really got the sense that they tried to make Apollo seem better than Phoenix in that scene. Definitely in Apollo in his own game, but not in Spirit of Justice. Trials and Tribulations is good. You can still enjoy it without playing the other two in the trilogy, but a lot of it impact requires you to play the first two. Oh yeah, certainly. I mean, that's what honestly works well, is that you can play Trials and Tribulations as your first game and understand what's happening completely, but it's gonna have a significantly less emotional impact if you haven't played the first two games in the series. Which is, I mean, that's kind of how because it's the same thing with Halo Infinite. Halo Infinite takes considerable steps to make sure you know exactly what's happening at all times, with all the flashbacks and everything, so that even if you're just playing the game for the first time, you'll know what's going on. But I do not believe that it will have anywhere near the same emotional impact on you that it would for someone who's actually played those games before. I guess case in point, I've seen a couple of YouTubers play through Halo Infinite who have their series is like, my first time playing a Halo game. So Infinite was their first experience with it. And I watched their Let's Plays and they enjoyed it, but their conclusion was just that they didn't really get an emotional impact out of it because they just had no context of what was going on with Cortana before the game and Chief's relationship with her and all that. So it's kind of a similar thing there. Hey, what's the screenshot? Oh, okay. Well, I wouldn't... So, it seems like the case itself is just the thing below. Because it does the... That itself actually looks like it would become a flame of Iblis, whereas the purple thing above doesn't actually look like it would become the shadowy ink liquid that it does become. It is weird that it's purple, but it doesn't seem like it's two separate cases. Because the whole idea is that they were split apart from each other, and then they were reformed back together into the same entity in the last story. Have I seen the Nintendo Life article, Why Play Just the Basic Eternity game? Yes, I have. I've read it. It was very helpful for my script. The motorcycle makes this level, those sections at least, a breeze to get through. You can just blitz through those doors before they even get the chance to shove with the motorcycle. Making it purple is dumb. Oh, sure. It's confusing that it is purple, but it's definitely not a part of the actual container itself. It's certainly a weird choice to make it purple, but it's absolutely not a part of the actual Iblis itself. Or Solaris, sorry. Best Eternity game, definitely not. You still enjoy it, but it's definitely still at the very least the weakest game in the franchise. And that's fine. So long as you acknowledge that it's very poorly written, you are more welcome to enjoy it. I mean, hell, Turning Red is a movie that came out recently. It's terrible. It's not good at all. But I enjoyed the hell out of it because of how stupid it was to watch. So yeah, you're more than welcome to get enjoyment out of stuff like that. How to see if something is good, read the IGN review, and then take the exact opposite of what they're saying. Well, not in every situation. They are occasionally accidentally correct, but more often than not, they just have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Usually you can laugh at bad games, but Apollo Justice is just so insulting to the series is an exception. Yeah, same thing with Toy Story 4. I get no enjoyment out of watching that movie. I mean, now I don't feel anything when I watch the movie, because like I said earlier, I just don't see it as a movie anymore. I see it as a collection of scenes that I just... Editing the series just has taken away my ability to see that movie as a story. So... But yeah, even before that, I got no enjoyment out of laughing at Buzz surviving, crashing into the amusement park ride, or the insanity of the fork face battle, or any of that stuff. It was only pain.
Who are you?
I'm Shadow. Shadow the Hedgehog.
Shadow, your face, your form. I will remember.
They imply Mephiles and Iblis were always separate, except now replace Iblis with Solaris.
Death.
Well, they were still here in this in that cutscene. Like, Solaris was contained inside that one capsule, and then when you break it apart, it turns into Iblis and Mephiles as two separate things. Mephiles is contained by the Scepter of Darkness, and then Iblis is sealed inside Elise. And then they're brought back together to form the overarching Solaris Sun God. That is a sentence that I said in a Sonic game, by the way. Mega Man X7 is genuinely worse than Security Breach. I have not played the former, so I cannot comment on that. Turning Red, as you know, it's just your favorite movie. Oh yeah, I can tell. Just with how much time you spend talking about it, man, it's just you must really love it. In all seriousness, I just keep seeing it everywhere. About every day you see the movie in a TV or a restaurant, even in school. Yeah, unfortunately, that'll die down once we get closer to Lightyear. Once it's almost time for Lightyear to come out, that'll be replaced by that. Unfortunately. Not looking forward to seeing that. Just for I mean, even if the thing is, the best case scenario for the Lightyear movie is that it isn't.
You're going to leave it behind?
Best case scenario for Lightyear is that it's just bad. That it's just a boring, terrible movie that's inconsistent with itself. But worst case scenario is that it deals even more damage to the Toy Story universe than has already been dealt by Toy Story 4. Which is entirely possible. I have no faith in them anymore. After everything that they've pulled, I have zero faith in their abilities to make a not terrible movie. X7 actually has character assassination? Yeah, I can't comment on that at all. Remember I saw some call me Johnny's review of Sonic 06 at some point. What to think of it? I need to watch it again to really get a better analysis of it.
You're back sooner than I expected.
But I'm pretty sure he got something incorrect about how the time travel works. Because this game uses a time loop time travel system where everything that's ever happened has already happened, to the point where going back to the past won't change the future because it would have already happened in the past, as opposed to Back to the Future where going back to the past changes what happens in the future by the ripple effect of creating the new timeline. But beyond that, I think he came away saying he still enjoys Sonic's story, but I would need to watch it again to give you a better idea of it. There was already a movie about Lightyear. Yeah, there was. As I've said many times before, the fact that the movie even exists at all is just a contradiction. It's dumb. But there's still more damage it could do even beyond that, so who knows. Some Calling Johnny is one of the people who ironically really like Sonic's story gameplay-wise. Yeah, that's what I just said. He does still enjoy Sonic's story. That's one thing I remember him saying. You consider Toy Story 3 to be the ending? Good. Keep it that way. If you can help it, don't watch Toy Story 4. Maintain that idea of the perfect ending in your mind. Didn't they already do the idea was well with the Buzz cartoon? Yes, like we've been saying, the Buzz Lightyear Star Command cartoon show and movie has already been done to death. But now they're erasing the history of that with the stupid new movie. It's crap. And the same people are gonna say, what, Lightyear's a kid's movie, why are you criticizing it? Yeah, I'm sure they will, and guess what, I'm not gonna care, because said the same thing about Toy Story 4, and it didn't stop me then, and it won't stop me now. It's a kid's movie has never been a good excuse. Never has been, never will be. Your younger siblings enjoy Toy Story 4. How anyone can do that baffles me. Unless you don't have any idea about the first 3 Toy Story movies and don't value logical consistency in a story. I don't understand how you can possibly come to that conclusion. Hello, Dementia Demente. Welcome to the stream today. We're probably getting close to the end of Shadow's story. I'd say we're probably about an hour away from the end. Maybe even less than an hour. Because all we have left to do is Wave Ocean and Dusty Desert, and then we're done. So we're probably getting close.
Perfect.
Oh, also, more important than that, we are also getting near the, we're getting near the glitch, or not the glitch, the horrible voice acting error that they left into the game somehow. Maybe, have you ever considered that you're just not the target audience anymore for these movies? Have you ever considered that? Yeah, that's a beauty of a line. Cortana's CGI versus Zurg design. Zurg is, well, we haven't seen Zurg in full yet, but even having not seen him in the movie proper yet, I can guarantee you it won't be worse than Cortana. Cortana's design makes me want to vomit. And even versus Buzz's new design, it's still significantly worse. It's actually uncanny. At least, because Buzz is at least visually real, like, it looks visually realistic. It's just that his costume design is awful, and he looks nothing like he should. But Cortana actually makes me want to vomit. You feel like there's going to be a Turning Red 2? I don't know about that. Pixar seems pretty adamant about not doing sequels anymore, or at least for the foreseeable future. I think you're good on that note. In case no one wants to say, but Lightyear's not a sequel. It's still technically an original story, just taking place in the... inspired by something from the Toy Story movies, but it is not a sequel, so still, I think you're good on that note. Are we sure the shorts aren't actually canon? I can't do his voice as well as I can do Brooks' voice. And even then, I don't think I did Brooks' voice all that well, but I can do that better than I did Joe's voice. Less than an hour until the worst experience of your life. I really don't know why you're committing yourself to put... Ultra Desperables is just not worth it. If you want to experience the game, watch a Let's Play. I don't want to say watch my Let's Play because that's very self-promoting. But just watch a Let's Play. It's suffering through the game isn't worth it. The gameplay is not good enough. They left an outtake in this game. Yep, and you're gonna see it after I'm done with town missions. I will show off that awesome outtake for you all. You hope Incredibles 3 fixes the problems Incredibles 2 made. I don't think there's gonna be an Incredibles 3. If there is, then Brad Bird didn't seem too jazzed about the idea of making an Incredibles 3, and Pixar as a company seems much more inclined to go for original stories than they are to go for sequels nowadays. Which is good, because that was always their strong suit.
Perfect.
Also, thank you all for walking in front of my camera angle for my victory animation. That was great. You considered my warning and have elected to ignore it. Fine, let Sid trash you, but don't blame me. Soul's the best modern Pixar movie. Yeah, I can see that. From the past 1 or 2 years? Well, from the past 2 years, your choices are Onward, Soul, Luca, and Turning Red, so its competition is kind of lackluster. I mean, Onward is still pretty good. And Onward and Luca are still pretty good. They're just not on par with Soul. Is Kokomon a Pixar? If it is, then I think Coco beats it out. If it's not, then I don't know. Also, check this out. Just 4 identical NPC models having a nice lunch on this table. With a random dog nearby too. Anyway. Let's do this town mission just because why not? Do I dislike edgelord characters? Man, I kind of like Shadow, so... eh. I don't know. Only the most artists can understand Toy Story 4. True. Was the accordion guy? He's over by the fountain. The fountain where you fight enemies as Amy, and the one where we fought enemies as Shadow coming here, and where you fight enemies as Sonic after you come back from Wave Ocean. You'll stick with Ace Attorney? Good idea. It's very beneficial of you to choose to completely ignore that in favor of completely ignore Danganronpa in favor of Ace Attorney. Now then, let's go on a key finding mission for Sabrina. Can't wait for part 3 for another painful Let's Play for... I'm assuming you're saying Sonic Adventure 2, but I don't know. The finale of Sonic Adventure 2 will be out tomorrow, if all goes well. I'm also going to try to get some editing done for the secret project tonight. I also want to try to wrap up the trailer. Because that's going to be the reveal moment for what the big secret project is going to be a trailer premiere. I'm going to premiere the trailer on the channel so I can see everyone's reactions to it live. You're about to play Professor Layton vs. Phoenix Wright for the first time. I hope you enjoy it. But there's a lot less to enjoy than there is stuff to, well, not enjoy. Any plans regarding Donkey Kong Country? Still in the process of working it out. It's like one good case and it sucks. Yeah, it's pretty accurate. You mean the Phoenix Wright sucks and Layton is better than every way game? Yeah. Next LP hint and when's the trailer? So, next LP hint, you know, I'm not gonna give one this time. I'm just gonna let you guys be surprised by it. I'm just going to let you guys be surprised by what's up, by what it's gonna be next week. As for the trailer, probably, I'm gonna check the calendar to see what my plans are. I'm probably gonna do it the last week of April. Well, assuming I get it all, because there's still a lot to edit. I still have to edit a lot of stuff. I've only edited 3. To give you an idea, I've only edited 3 episodes of the 18 that there are. So it's gonna take a long time to get, because it's double the footage, which is also double the render time. Plus, it's not just the footage; it's also just something I have to do during editing. If I say any more, it'll be a spoiler. There's something I'm doing when editing the video that's incredibly tedious, so that it's easy to watch. So, my goal is to have the entire series edited by the end of April, and then release the trailer at the end of April, and then the release date will be probably sometime in the beginning of May. And it'll probably be a weekly series, because I don't imagine there'll be enough demand for it to be a daily series, but we'll see. We'll see what the reaction is to the trailer when that comes out. Finish Sonic Adventure 2, and then I can finally rest and watch the sunrise on a grateful YouTube audience. Yeah, because if it weren't for doing this on YouTube, I don't know that I would have had it in me to stick it out to the end. In fact, I'll say I probably definitely wouldn't have had it in me to stick it out to the end. Is it the long-awaited and longest community stream? No, it absolutely is not. April, May, that is an entirely unrelated turn of events. But if you want a real hint, then the teaser image on the Discord server, for those of you who don't know, I have recently posted a teaser image on my Discord server teasing what the next project is going to be, so if you're interested in finding out what Neil and I have in store, then you can go check that out. You're not generally a negative person, so maybe you'll see the positive in the crossover. Oh, well, there is certainly some positive in the crossover. Some, but it's drowned out by a lot of the negatives. What channel? It's in the channel, it's called, Future Project Teasers, or something like that. I think it is literally just called Future Project Teasers. It's one of the first posts in the channel. Trust me, you'll know when you see it. Anyway, for those who want the audio glitch or the voice fail, here it is. No one caught that, huh? No one? Alright, moving on then. Oh, I guess, should I do it? Let's do it, why not? I don't know how that happens. But it did. No one caught that. No one... I don't know how they used that take. Also, I just passed accordion guy. Aang, Clementine, Batman v Superman staff thingy. I don't know, I'm pretty proud of the hint. I'm pretty proud of that hint. I think it's one of my best thumbnails I've ever made. But you also forgot the oranges. Don't forget the oranges. Alright, wave motion time. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I'm pretty sure I died. I wish I had seen that before I made my series. There is a game where someone literally said, let me try that again, it was kept in the game. Well, that I guess, did it come out after or before Sonic 06? Because if I was gonna say Sonic 06 set the standard for voice acting flubs in that case. What's my favorite line from all the Halo games? Good question. I think I previously said that it was, she said that to me once, about being a machine. But I don't know, some of the lines from Infinite are really good. For instance, when Chief is about to fight the Spartan Killers, and, he said, when they're about to kill him, and when they're about to kill the pilot, and he says, that won't happen. And the weapon responds with, how can you be sure? His response is, because they'll have to go through me first. That was an awesome line. A lot of Escher's monologues are great. Also, this, if you mash A here, you can just kind of glitch your way past the section. So that's pretty neat. Anyway. When Chief says, like, when he says, in the end, he was just a soldier, hoping he'd done the right thing, questioning his choices. A lot of his lines from Infinite are great, but really, I think I'm always gonna have to come back to, wake me when you need me, because it's just a perfect ending to the trilogy. Your favorite line is, Chief, you know it's the fourth game, can you look around for a minute? Okay, so that only happens in the first 2 games on the original Xbox. In the third game, you look up and down, and you only do that once. In ODST, it's not Chief, you're playing as a different character. Reach doesn't even have it, neither does 4 or 5. And it makes sense in universe to calibrate the armor, and it makes sense in our universe to calibrate your controls and sensitivity. It makes complete sense for that to happen. You just saw the image and you have no idea what that means if I'm not trolling. I promise you, it is not a troll. There was considerable effort put into this image to make sure it is a completely rational teaser for the upcoming series that Neil and I are doing. But honestly, one of the things that's in that image is such a dead giveaway, or at least it should have been a dead giveaway. The fact that it's not is making me happy, because it means that people probably aren't gonna guess it before the series comes out. What image? So if you go to my Discord server and check the future project teasers channel, you'll see that I posted a teaser image for my upcoming series with Neil. And so far, no one has managed to guess it right. But hey, maybe you'll be the first one. Who knows? Do I think Trigger Happy Havoc is the best Danganronpa game? No. 2 is the best one, easily. It has more... It has a better cast of characters and better cases than the first game. How is there a dead giveaway? If you don't know this is a dead giveaway, then that's good. It is... It's dependent on... If you don't... No, I can't say anymore. If I say anymore, I'm gonna give too much away. I've already probably said too much, honestly. They turn into anime stereotypes in 2 and V3. I don't know if I push it that far. I also don't know that I would say that there's no anime stereotypes in the first game either. Is there a remove ad option in Twitch? To my knowledge, the only way to do that is to subscribe to the channel you're currently viewing. But honestly, Twitch, my view of Twitch streams has degraded significantly in recent months, especially given recent drama that's happened on Twitch. I just don't stream on Twitch anymore. Is that the actual thumbnail? Well, I'm still working on it. You know, I'm sure you'll see it change over the course of April. It might get better and higher quality. Some things might change. It might become more evident as the month goes on what that thumbnail is going to end up looking like. But this is consider it a work in progress thumbnail. Consider this the first draft of the thumbnail for episode 1 of the upcoming series. Drama happened on Twitch. Yeah. With React streamers stealing people's content. Also, did you guys like how you can see the hovercraft just blitz away and crash into the wall in the background?
Perfect.
That's my favorite. Alright, we have one more. How many stages do I have? I was actually just going to answer that question, or actually say that in advance. We have one more stage to go. We have one town mission, and then one act mission, and then a boss, and then we're done. So, I'd say we probably have around, maybe 20-30 minutes to go. Depending on how quickly I make my way through these. But let me put it this way. I'm aware that it's the current state of that thumbnail teaser is very esoteric, for lack of a better term.
You may have been programmed.
But there are links to what the series is going to end up actually being. And it will probably become more apparent as the month goes on and I start to post more images. But if someone actually manages to guess it from just that image, it's possible, but I would be astounded if someone could do it. I'd be genuinely impressed. I couldn't say it, I couldn't comment on it, of course, because if I say you got it right, then, well, there goes the surprise, but just know that I would be very impressed.
The one that defeats and seals you in the future is me.
You took Axel's armor because he was your favorite character? You mean Magnus? Because the choice between whose armor to take is between Magnus and Ellegaard. But I took Magnus's armor because, logically, he's a TNT demolitions expert, so you'd think his armor was meant for withstanding explosions.
So unfair.
But I think that's probably what they wanted you to do, is they wanted you to take the armor of the character who you liked more. But that wasn't because I liked Ellegaard more than Magnus. I went to Redstonia with Olivia to go get Ellegaard. But when I was presented with a choice of whose armor to take, my thought process wasn't even whose armor do I like more, it was just which of these pieces of armor is more likely to allow me to survive an explosion. Which would be Magnus, because he's built for demolitions experts.
The world becomes its
Shadow? Even if you believe everyone in the world will be against you, know that I'll always remain by your side.
Man, there was a lot of potential for this story. With the whole Shadow fighting as the world turns against him, and Mephiles being the embodiment of his darker potential. But it's just a shame that it was all butchered. He just slowly walks away from them. Alright. Shadow's really only an edgelord in his own game. Alright, I can't wait to find out how that's gonna be. Time to sit on your thinking chair and gather the blues clues. Yeah, like I said, if anyone can guess it, I'll be... I think people might have a better chance of guessing it with the second image. Because I have a... I'm currently in the process of making the second thumbnail, or the second draft of that thumbnail. So, you know, I think there might be some more guesses. I think once we get to thumbnail 3, people will know what it is. I am extremely confident by the time I post the third version of the thumbnail, people are going to be able to immediately identify what exactly what it is. And if no one manages to guess it, then fear not. I will, what's it? I will explain what all the teasers meant afterwards. To rub salt in the wound, one of your brothers made fun of you for crying over a pig. Well, it's if you get emotionally attached to a character, it doesn't. You're allowed to react emotionally to it. You love the Sonic IDW comics, which Shadows was part of the series. I haven't read any of them. I haven't read any Sonic comics at all, so I am of no use in that regard. All right, Chaos Lance time. Now then, I think this is the final wave of enemies, and then we're all set. Guess this thumbnail is gonna be low quality. Hey man, I put a lot of work into that thumbnail. You know how long it took me to drag the images exactly where they needed to be? Man, that was really time consuming. I feel the big sad now. That's one of my favorite thumbnails I've ever made. But you know, tell you what, I'll put extra effort into the second thumbnail, just to make it even better. I'll make it even better. Hopefully. Alright, we saved the city, what to do? Let's go to Dusty Desert now. That's an A rank, I think? Yeah, it's an A rank.
Not even a challenge.
One of your brothers tried to make fun of you, crying over Tony Stark. Oh, I saw someone... There was a person I know who cried their eyes out at Endgame when they saw it for the first time. And then they saw it again with someone else. And then made fun of that person for crying when they saw it with them. Because self-awareness and double standards and all that. I'm allowed to cry at a movie, but you are not allowed. You're crying over a movie? Kill me. You cried happy tears when Cap lifted Mjolnir in the theater. Yeah, I can see that. It's certainly definitely a very powerful moment for him. I just kind of smiled. I smiled at that. Tony's death is what made me into a waterfall. But that moment just kind of made me smile. Alright, here we go. Final level. How dare I have empathy? I know, what a sin.
Mephiles appears to have headed for those ruins. He's probably looking for the Chaos Emerald that's supposed to be there.
There's no doubt in my mind. His movement shows he's...
You were legit pissed off that you beat your brother for pissing you off at the theaters. That does not sound like a rational reaction to that.
To join with Iblis again.
Unless you're memeing, that's a bit of a leap in terms of reaction. Okay. To the desert we go. Have I seen three Chaos Emeralds anywhere? No. You'll have to find them yourself. There are only 30 million sand particles in this desert. I'm assuming that's a line from the fan dub. Your best friend beat his brother and said he was proud of it. That's not a... That doesn't... I mean, I'm lacking context, but out of context, that doesn't sound like something to be proud of. Have I seen the damn 4th Chaos Emerald? Sadly, I have not. I've not seen the damn 4th Chaos Emerald anywhere, unfortunately. I'll let you know if I find it, though. I will make you aware if I ever see that. Okay. So, have I found the computer room? I don't know if that's a line from something, or if it is, then I don't know what you're referring to. Once I find the 3 Chaos Emeralds, give them to you. Nah, I'll pass. I'll keep them and use them for myself to transform into Super Shadow or whatever. Oh, it's Lime Shadow the Hedgehog. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm unaware of any references to that game because I haven't played it, so I won't be able to tell you. You think before Endgame, the last time you cried was the incinerator in Toy Story 3? Yeah, that was the first time I felt really emotionally impacted by a movie, because that was my first big theater experience was Toy Story 3. And the incinerator, back-to-back the incinerator with the So Long Partner scene was just drained me. I mean, it was awesome, but it was emotionally draining.
It's just a bit further.
Alright, now it's time for the interior of Dusty Desert, which only Shadow and Silver get to play. Sonic only ever does the outside. Like the actual desert part of Dusty Desert. Silver at least gets to do that, well, I say at least. He gets to do the desert part in the last story, but that's probably the worst part of the last story, so... I can't really say at least as a qualifier for that. Now, let's see how long it takes us to get through this. Oh my god, camera, work with me here. The War with Grandpa's the cringy movie? I don't know anything about it. Can't comment on it. You don't tend to cry to movies, you have to try really hard for that. Having said that, Toy Story 2 and 3, Up, and WALL-E. WALL-E didn't get me, but I can see how it would've. The first 10 minutes of Up definitely got me. But Toy Story 3 was just a waterfall experience for me, as was Endgame. And I think that's it for movies. I was expecting that I would cry in No Way Home, but I did not. Because it had been hyped up for me as, like, such an emotional ending, and it just didn't hit me at all, so... eh. I guess that would... I think those are the only... Oh, Wreck-It Ralph got me tearing up a little bit, but not anything drastic. Tangled, got a little teary-eyed there, but nothing. The only movies that really got me... Like, the only movies that actually got me full-on waterfall bawling were Toy Story 3... and Endgame, I think, are the only 2 times. Oh, Coco. How can I forget Coco? Obviously, Coco was one as well. As far as games are concerned, games did that a lot more. Walking Dead Season 1 and 2 and 4, Halo 4, Halo Infinite are big ones. Are you the only one who didn't cry at the end of Toy Story 3? No, I'm sure many people didn't, but it was still a very emotional ending.
Omega's done it. Let's move on.
Oh, and of course, obviously, Trials and Tribulations, Spirit of Justice, and Grace Attorney 2 are also games that made me just bawl uncontrollably. You cried at No Way Home, and it's probably because of your personal attachment to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Well, see, that's the thing. I actually I was really invested in Tom Holland's Spider-Man as well. It's just that so much about the movie was broken. And so many characters, well, not so many, but Assassinating Doctor Strange did not sit right with me at all. There's just a lot of issues with that movie that prevented me from feeling any sadness toward it at all. Like, I legitimately, this sounds like I'm exaggerating, but I'm not. I legit had to fight to not fall asleep during the major death scene, in case there's anyone concerned about spoilers. You bet I cried at the Halo show, but not for the reason most people might think. Nah, I'm just pissed at the Halo show. I feel no sadness toward it. I mean, I guess I feel slightly depressed that because I know we're never gonna get another. This was the chance to get a big budget Halo show, and we're never gonna get this chance again, and it's just been completely wasted by the idiots that wrote this awful script. So that's kind of depressing. But the story itself is just painful. More anger-inducing, cringe-inducing. Doctor Strange was an asshole. He was an asshole and he was stupid. He shouldn't have so flippantly agreed to do the spell. He should have explained the spell in advance. He should have said, the second Peter started saying, wait, but what about all these other people that I want you to have them remember? He should have said, alright, stop, go home, think for a bit, come back to me tomorrow, and then we'll try this again.
Not even a challenge.
And that's not even the tip of the iceberg. If you want to hear more in-depth thoughts as to why No Way Home is just broken, you can go watch my first Sunshine stream. I talk about it when I start to go to Gelato Beach. Alright, here we go. Final boss battle. Against Mephiles, or final boss of Shadow Story. But writing is hard. Oh yeah, it's hard to make well-written stories. I mean, obviously it is, given how little it happens nowadays.
I was expecting you sooner. As you must know, you're already...
How Spider-Man No Way Home should have ended, I still haven't seen that. I don't really plan on doing it.
Time for you to change your mind. Join me, Shadow. Let us teach this world a lesson and rewrite the future.
Don't try to deceive me.
What?
You have no desire for revenge. You only crave destruction.
The Batman 2022 blew you away. I got a mess. Forgetful 45 went to go see that.
It's a pity, Shadow the Hedgehog.
I think it was like I got a message at some point, like in the middle of the night when she got back from the theater. I don't know what time it was, but it was late at night, like 2 or 3 a.m. or something like that. And she said that she was gonna make me watch the movie the second I got the second that she came back from college for summer. She was gonna make me watch it.
I'll make sure you.
So I'm sure I'll see it at some point, but I've had no desire to watch it yet. It's a slow burn, but definitely excels the story. I've heard it's really, really good. Like I said, I've never really been a DC fan, so I never really had an emotional reason to go want to see it. But I don't deny that it's probably really good. I've heard unanimous praise for it. Alright, here we go. Now we play the waiting game for the monsters of doom to appear. Come on. Where are they? Okay, here they come.
Hey, that doesn't look good.
Oh, you don't say, Rouge. Hey, that doesn't look good. By the way, I like how Rouge and Omega just do absolutely nothing for this entire fight. They just They just trot around behind me while I do all the work, as usual. I will say this, at least in this battle, it takes significantly less time to build up your chaos meter than it does in the first Mephiles battle. Because the first Mephiles battle, you just have to homing attack down a bunch of tiny little Mephiles shadows, whereas this one is just, there's less enemies to defeat, so it builds up the meter a lot faster. Excuse me, did I not homing attack the eye? Excuse me, excuse me, excuse me. Okay, I guess I didn't do that. Alright, cool, moving on. Come on, get it. There we go. Cool. Hurry. Okay, I think, is that going to be enough to fill my gauge? I hope so. No, it's okay. I need one more. One more and it'll seal the deal. Please drop down. You love No Way Home, but you agree Batman's a little better. Oh, I imagine. Oh, there go my rings. Okay, just attack him now. Deal with rings later. I imagine it's definitely better if just comparative in process elimination. Okay, hold on. Okay, that should be good. Unleash the chaos power. Howdy, Mephiles. How you doing today? Where's my ring? There's my ring. Give me my ring. Thank you. Okay. Now, it's possible to not kill him in one cycle if you waste your chaos power, so I gotta be fast here so I don't drain my meter too quickly. And I'm not gonna activate phases 2 or 3 of it, so, because pushing the right trigger more than once will change to levels 2 and 3 of your chaos power, but it'll also cause it to drain faster. And I only need phase 1 of this in order to take him out, so I don't want it to drain any faster than it needs to. How many episodes will the new series have? It will have 18, and they'll all be about an hour long. Some will be shorter, some will be slightly shorter, like 50 minutes, some will be slightly longer, like an hour and 20 minutes. But they'll all be about around an hour long. Do I dislike Elise? Yes. She's not a really well-written character, and her implementation in the story is cringeworthy at best and disgusting at worst.
I am invincible.
But yeah, the new series is going to be 18 episodes long. It wasn't planned that way, it just ended up being that long.
Yes.
Okay, we did it. That's Shadow's story beaten 100%. Well, sorry, not 100%. We've beaten the story mode of it anyway. Doom, doom. Now we get to watch the credits, and that will be the end of the stream. How long was the original planned episode count? If I were to guess, I would have guessed it would have been 19 or so episodes. But that was... I didn't really... Like, if you asked me before we started recording how long would it be, I would have guessed 19. But we didn't plan that. We were just going to record until we finished it. So... Remains... It could have been any number. I didn't really care how long it was. We were just going to record until we got it all done. Elise would rather see the world burn than ever freaking Sonic. Yeah, that line in the last story where she says, "I don't care what happens to the world." It's just like, alright, so you're an awful person then. Cool. Cool, cool. Raising your nephew right, not letting him know Danganronpa exists, and telling him to play Mario Wii instead. Good decision making.
The Eye of Now absorbed your power through your shadow in the past. What may have worked 10 years ago no longer does.
I don't know how that makes any sense, but I guess that happened. He absorbed our power in the past somehow. Shadow Unleashed. An army of Nephilises.
You must realize now that you cannot hope to stop me with your limited power.
Hey look, it's infinite. It's only me and you. Who is gonna save you now?
It's futile. The world will betray you.
Like how his mouth just undulates, and it doesn't actually open or close, it's just like... It's like an NP, it's like a Minecraft villager trying to talk.
I will fight like I always have.
Why does his mouth move in the cutscenes? Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Like, why he just undulates weirdly. So, I'm gonna ask something to any Sonic lore aficionados in the chat. Is there a reason why he doesn't just always have his inhibitor rings off so he can just endlessly steamroll everybody like that? Because I feel like that's just something he should always do. But maybe, I don't know if there's a lore reason why he doesn't always have those rings off his wrists. Like, maybe it kills him slowly or something, I don't know. Have I ever got spoiled by a video game YouTube thumbnail? No. Thankfully. Halo 5 was spoiled for me because of someone messaging me the text, but never by a YouTube thumbnail, thankfully. The game introduced this? Oh. Okay, so it's just that they didn't think about that. The game's just dumb? Okay, I assumed that there was some in-universe exploration or explanation of how, like maybe the longer he doesn't, like, having the rings on is what keeps him from using his power, and using the power will kill him if he uses it too much or something like that. But I guess it's just poorly written. Anyway, Shadow's theme in Sonic 06 here is very good. Yeah, it is. All Hail Shadow is an awesome song. Do I think this would have been an amazing game if it wasn't published unfinished? Absolutely. I think if Sega Team remade this game, it would be outstanding. Did I say Sega Team? Sonic Team. The problem is that I don't think they'll ever commit any more time to this than they did initially. They don't want to acknowledge this game's existence anymore moving forward. So that was less than 3 hours. That was pretty fast. I think we did Sonic Story in like 3 hours, so we did this one in less than 3. Although I also did less side stuff this time too. So yeah, I think all the stories are around 3 hours long. My favorite Sonic game. Maybe. I don't know, it honestly probably is. I've probably played this Sonic game more than any other ones. But I really like Colors as well. It's close between Colors and this one. Of course, I have a lot of nostalgia for the original Sonic games as a kid. But probably this or Colors would be my favorite. What is not particularly good with ports or master remakes of any kind? Well, if you take the concepts that this game had and then you execute them significantly better, then I think that this does have the potential to be out of this world. Project 06 is right there. It's been done and it's amazing. I've heard it. I've heard that that's the case. I just haven't played it myself. You love Sonic Mania? A lot of people love it. I certainly enjoyed playing it. But I have not been incentivized to play it again after my initial playthrough. I think there was some DLC as well, I just don't really have any incentive to check it out. You love the classic Sonic games? Yeah, a lot of people do. What do I think about Sonic Movie 2? Haven't seen it yet. I have yet to see it. I will have seen it by next week's stream. So in Silver Story, I will have my thoughts on it. But right now, I don't have any thoughts on it because I haven't seen it. Heard great things about it though. Hoping it's good. Hoping it's very good. Alright. Favorite Sonic 3 and Knuckles? I've heard that from a lot of people, but it was always my least favorite of the original Sonic trilogy. His world slaps, yes, but Zebrahead's version slaps harder. Much harder, in fact. Your favorite is either Generations or Unleash. Those are both good picks. You're planning on watching the movie on Wednesday? You and me both. My cousins are flying in, or sorry, they're taking the train in tomorrow. And we're probably going to go see it on Wednesday. That's probably the day that works best. So I'm hoping it'll be a fun time. What do I think is the best out of 1, 2, 3 and Knuckles? 2. You still haven't been able to beat the classic Sonic games without save states. They're really hard. Yeah, they are. They're really tough games. I never beat the first. I never beat either of the original games as a kid. But I did beat Sonic the Hedgehog 1 and 2. Well, I beat all 3 2 years ago. It was June of 2020 that I just I took a nostalgia trip to play the original trilogy. And I really enjoyed all. Well, I didn't enjoy 3 and Knuckles all that much. I guess I enjoyed the ones with Sonic 3, but not the ones from Sonic and Knuckles. Sonic 1 was fine. Sonic 2 was great. Favorite Sonic non-lyrical track? Non-lyrical Sonic track is probably it's something from the Sonic 2 soundtrack. Maybe Hilltop Zone. I don't know, there's a lot of great tracks on the Sonic 2 soundtrack. I have to think about that some more. Right now, my gut answer is Hilltop Zone. We consider Generations console and 3DS to be kind of the same game. I've only ever played the console version of Generations, never the 3DS version, so I can't really comment on it. I know it's different slightly, though. I think. What's my favorite Ace Attorney Investigation theme? Probably the one from the Chronicles. Or maybe... Actually, that might not be the investigation theme. Is the one that goes... Is that investigation or is that just a core theme? I don't know. If that counts in that one, if not, then I'll probably pick the one from the third game. The that's the core investigation theme back to back with that's not investigation. We have made great progress here in chat today. You can never get past the second zone of each classic Sonic game due to being impatient when I can't even play the stages. I think I honestly, I think I'm kind of similar. I didn't make it past Chemical Plant Zone as a kid either, but man, did I love playing Emerald Hill Zone and Chemical Plant over and over again. And then Sonic, for the first game, I never made it past Marble Hill Zone. Actually, no, I think I did beat Chemical Plant Zone, but I never made it much further than that. It's the first game that I never made it past Marble Hill Zone, because Marble Hill Zone is just such a drastic shift in both style and quality from Green Hill Zone. Anyway, I'm gonna wrap things up here. This was this is a fun time. I enjoyed this. I really do enjoy playing this game, and I enjoy chatting with all of you. So, remember the acapella stream? Yep, I do remember that. It was Halo Wars 2. But yeah, thanks all for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed this stream, and I hope to see you all soon for whatever you want to watch next. Notice we're all today? Nah, I'm gonna just focus on editing today. Editing the trailer and the new series. I won't be on Discord much today. I might browse around after the stream just to see if anyone's been saying anything while I was streaming, but I got a lot of work to do today. So,